Office still stands for time? No.
Good evening. Get that baby turned down. Good evening, everybody. How you doing? Definitely go sub and follow Architect if you enjoyed the music. And then for them awesome intros, definitely go sub to Grizz. Good evening, everybody. We're not going to be doing a crazy late episode tonight. It's going to be a few hours. Still will have a few hours show, but we won't be going late. We'll go ahead and get into the hellos. Look at the new icon photo. What's up, Caddy? Number 1 ticket. Thank you. Good to see you. Jacqueline, ticket number 2. Good evening. Katrina, ticket number 5. Miley, ticket number 7. Typically Unique, ticket number 8. Hope you're doing well. I can't wait to sit down with you here in the future. D. Smith, what's up? Can never tell what number. Oh, yeah. BMG in Columbia House, right? Yeah. Oh, no, shit just pops in my head. What's up, 49er girl? Ticket number 14. Scarlet, ticket number 13. What's up? Kevin is not here right now. Please leave a message after blah, and he will try to get back to if he survived whatever caused him to make that sound. What's up? 16. Feeling ornery, huh? Well, at least you're in a good mood, right? What's up, Echo? Thank you for the comment. Oh no! Foot of snow. Ooh, I can't stand snow. What's up, Toby? Or what do you want me to? Do you want me to call you Toby? I'm sorry, I'm gonna butcher this. Lesenby, mustache, or tragedy? Just let me know. Or do you want me to call you TLMT? TLMT. That sounds pretty cool, don't it? TLMT for short. Sounds pretty cool. Lake Erie. Ooh. That lake effect snow ain't no joke, is it? Rain? Oh no. Snow day? We only get hurricane days or rain. Oh, your daughter's in the pool. Damn, where are you? Oh shoot. I thought it was cold everywhere. I love sheets that tell me what direction to put them on. I know, right? Because you're sitting there and you put them on, and then you can't get and you swear every time you think you're putting it on the long way where the long goes, but really when you put it on, it's always backwards, and you're like, I swear, I check every single time. That's cool, Caddy. Caddy's a smart one. What does it come with? Like a? Well, I mean, I always would just go by the tag, but what does it have? What's up, Echo? Number 18. A foot of snow. Jeez Louise, TLMT. I like that. I like that too, right? TLMT. Right on the lake. Oh. Ooh, it's got to be cold. Oh, that's got to be cold. Right on the lake effect. Ooh. What's up, Sandy Toes? Ooh. Oh, can't imagine. Oh. It's the wind. The wind is the worst. Right, typically? What's up, DS? About being able to be in a pool. I'm 30 minutes between Miami and Fort Lauderdale. AC is on. Hate it. I used to live I lived down there for a while. I lived in Sunrise, Florida there for a while. Right outside of Fort Lauderdale. Sunrise, Florida. Right by where the Florida well, I don't know if they still play there. But right by where the Florida Panthers play. And I would always go to that Sawgrass Mall. That was like that mall. It had the buildings that, like, if you looked at it from a bird's eye view, it looked like an alligator. It was pretty sweet. Did I ever see alligators? Yes, I did. All the time. Shit was crazy. Hey, what's up, Innocent Intel? How you doing? That shit was crazy. I'd be rollerblading down the road, and all of a sudden you'd see alligators in the ditches. It wasn't no thing. Alligators in the ditches. At first, it's like, whoa, what the heck? But after a while, you just keep skating, because they're usually just chilling, unless you go fuck with them or something. But usually they're just chilling, so you just keep going. You just keep going. Keep blading. All right, so we were talking about the IGG stuff earlier. So, and we did mention Andrea Burkhart. So we're going to go into a little clip that was on Twitter, and I'll share the link to that, to who posted it. And then we're going to go into some of this other stuff. Now, I did mention about watching the last court hearing again. And so we'll go ahead and get to that here. I'm gonna take a look. I got everything kind of prepped. I'm just gonna take a look and see what I got, because we might go into that first, but we might go into something else. Now, I know you guys also were wanting to watch the Crime Circuit or Crime Circus video, whatever. When did it come out? Yesterday or today or something? So we'll go ahead and watch that too. Maybe we'll just go ahead and get into that one first. We'll go ahead and watch that one first, and then we'll go from there. But we'll definitely watch that last court hearing. And when we get into that last court hearing, I'm not going to sit there and listen to this. I don't know. Maybe I will. I was thinking about just kind of skipping past some of the stuff, because really there for a while you're just like, oh, it just goes on and on and on. But I don't know. Maybe we will. Maybe we will. All right, we'll go ahead and switch to that, and we'll get into this Andrea Burkhart little couple-minute clip when it's talking about the DNA and all that, and then we'll get into that crime circus. Thank you, everybody, for hopping in. Appreciate you. Please hit the like if you haven't yet. It's the free way to help.
So the DNA evidence, you've described it as strong. I would describe it as really the linchpin of the state's case, because if this DNA evidence does not stand, in my opinion, the case does not stand. So it's really the only hope that they have to get a conviction here. So you've described it as strong evidence. What we know about the DNA is that it appears to be what we call trace evidence, meaning this doesn't come directly from a body fluid like a blood or something like that can help explain how that DNA got onto that knife sheath. Instead, it is simply a small amount of what is likely DNA associated with skin cells, or sometimes there's not even any cellular material at all. It's simply free-floating DNA. And so what we know now is that this type of DNA is very easily transferred, not just from person to object, but from person to person, person to person to object, person to person to person. So there have been numerous instances of cases where false convictions have occurred due to reliance on this type of evidence. The most prominent one is a gentleman named Lucas Anderson, who, as it turned out, his DNA was found underneath the fingernails of a murder victim, and the defense was subsequently later able to tie that to his having been treated by paramedics, first responders, shortly before they then responded to the crime scene and handled this body. So
I'm glad you mentioned that. That I could understand how it's explainable. Out of all places for the DNA to be, and I hear what you're saying about the difference between skin cells and blood. Out of all places, it's not found on a doorknob. It's not found on the carpet. It is found on a knife sheath.
Whoa, what happened? Is it over? No way. Are you serious? Because
the person. So there have been numerous instances of cases where false
What's up, Susan?
Convictions have occurred due to reliance on this type of evidence. The most prominent one is a gentleman named Lucas Anderson, who, as it turned out, his DNA was found underneath the fingernails of a murder victim, and the defense was subsequently later able to tie that to his having been treated by paramedics, first responders, shortly before they then responded to the crime scene and handled this body.
Wow. So somebody wasn't wearing the proper equipment. What's up, Bianca? Ticket number 32. Yeah. Whoa. Oh my gosh. What's up, Julie? I'm sorry, every time I see that name I think of what's that movie called? It's got what's his name? Steve Martin? My Blue Heaven or something? Do you guys remember Do you remember My Blue Heaven? You remember that movie with Steve Martin? I think that's what it's called. Does that sound like a movie with Steve Martin? My Blue Heaven. What's up, Mark and Betty? How you doing? Ticket number 33. I like Andrea. We're gonna watch a video of hers tonight. But now Julianne, every time I see that name you put up there before, it always makes me think of My Blue Heaven, Steve Martin, you know? Oh shoot. For $4.99, you too can Anyway, oh shit. I'm gonna have to look that up. Lucas Anderson. Underneath the fingernails. It kind of like makes me think of the clip that I made earlier about it makes you wonder, like, how did the DNA get there on the sheath, right? We talk Mark Carver. This is another one, Lucas Anderson. We're going to have to check that one out. We might have to scoot that one in before one of the other things I got for us tonight, because I definitely want to check that out. Lucas Anderson was treated by EMS shortly before EMS showed up at the scene, and that's how the connection took place. Oh, thank you, Susan. I don't know. I'm just like, what else? Just like today, when it came to the Brady-Giglio and that person that has the Brady-Giglio possibly being the person that's on the chain of custody for the DNA. And, you know, I mean, hell, we're just right here. Lucas Anderson. Lucas Anderson. I don't know. Something don't make sense. Rick Moranis and Steve Martin. Yeah, the old duo. Oh, I did one on the 8 hours. And then I did one on the what's up, Kentucky girl? And then I did one on the whole Brady-Giglio. Like, is that why? Because really, that's the only reason why a chain of custody would be under a current investigation, would it not? Right? That's the other than that, what else would a chain of custody be held for in another investigation if it wasn't because of the Brady-Giglio? So it just, I don't know. I'm just like, maybe they're the person that picked up the sheath. Maybe the person that picked up the sheath is under the Brady-Giglio, and they're part of the chain of custody because they picked it up. So it doesn't matter what lab worked on it. It doesn't matter. It's the chain of custody. And if the first name on the chain of custody is the first person that picked up the sheath, and that person that's the only reason why a chain of custody would not be available. That's the only reason why. And then you look at the verbiage. Sorry, this earphone keeps coming out. You look at the verbiage. And it talks about this person could be in danger. Well, then everybody knows who's got the Brady-Giglio, right? I don't know. I just sit there and I keep wondering and I keep wondering and I keep wondering. What makes damn sense? Oh, really? Yeah, right, Kelly? Is that how you spell it? Is it with a K? I need to look up some information. I don't know anything about it. Oh, in another case, yeah, I know, right, Susan? The year before, is that the one you're talking about? The one from the year prior? It was like a year and a half prior, and it has to do with testimonies and stuff as well. Let me know, Susan, because I looked up some stuff a while, like in the spring. Has to do with testimonies and stuff too. Okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yes, I do. That's one thing we never really got into, really. I looked it up, checked it out. We must have just there's so much stuff that we just I don't know, I prep and we don't even cover. All right, so let's check out this Crime Circus video here. Cuz y'all were wanting to watch it earlier. And have you guys seen that video I put out earlier about the Brady-Giglio, everybody? Let me see how long it is. Maybe I'll just play that in case people haven't. 11 minutes? It's not that long. Let's play it real quick in case you haven't seen it from the earlier show. What's up, Brian? 2 months and then to show up in the last court hearing like you'd never been asked that question. You got to reach out and you don't think Orthram doesn't follow up what's going on with the case? You don't think the people that work at Orthram are watching what's going on with this case? Seriously? You don't think Orthram understands the time and essence? You're exactly right. The lab could have produced copies of their files in the matter of a few hours, and that's being generous. That's being generous. Business hours? Maybe an hour. Locate the documents, get them in order, which they already should be if they're filed properly. If people did their work, they'd already be filed in order. You wouldn't really have to do nothing but walk a few minutes to go get the documents, honestly. Boom. So, no, it doesn't take 2 months. They know the time is of the essence. They know what's going on. I would want it all too. It should have already been. It should have whatever had already taken place. Because listen, you got it's in the PCA. So as of December, you had the homework for the IGG, right? So it should have been in the discovery. Now, all of this time, if you had to do more work, totally get it. You're not going to get that stuff in the initial discovery files. But as time goes on, just like the prosecution says, hey, guess what? We have to say that, there's Brady-Giglio. Hey, we have to tell you. So if there's new information and the defense is requesting it, then it should be provided after the initial discovery. But when you're saying that you already had homework to get to BK in the PCA, which was used to apprehend him, then you should have already had the homework in the discovery in the first place. What's up? How you doing? Oh, thank you. Have fun. Exactly. The prosecution has had a year to get their game in order. Right. It's all been there. So why is there 10? It is, especially how you got to the profile. The most damning evidence. Okay. How in the hell did you even, like, you're going to tell me that why wouldn't it? You're going to tell me that my DNA was on something, and you're not going to tell me how you got my name when anybody could put that shit in and name it. Like, seriously, they could have put the DNA in something and put BK's damn name on it. All right, we got a match. Koberger. Like, when you could literally put DNA in the system and put Joe Dirt on the damn fucking postcard, you couldn't do that with Koberger's name and say you got a match? You could do it with Joe Dirt. How could you not do it with Koberger? I'm just thinking it's going to get delayed. It's going to continue to get delayed. Bill Thompson knows that it's just going to continue to get delayed. And they're going to get to a point, because he knows, he's known from the beginning, he can sit there and say that I can't get it. It's not up to me. I didn't do the work, so I don't have it. I can't get it from this other agency. It's not up to me. And he knows that. And he knows that he can continue to argue that as many months as it takes. And eventually the court is going to get to a point where they have to move on. He's been playing it the whole time. That's why at this last court hearing, I'm like, he's going to continue to play it. He was supposed to show up with the information last court hearing before it started. He's just going to keep saying he can't get it. We didn't do the work. We can't get it. We just used the tip that we got. There's not supposed to be reasonable doubt in the DNA. And unfortunately, that's the thing that has the most reasonable doubt right now, especially if you can't even provide the chain of custody. To say that the chain of custody is part of another investigation says that the chain of custody involves somebody that's in another investigation, and that means it's one of your own. It's one of your own then. Does it have to do with the Brady-Giglio? Is that why it can't be released? Because is the person that has the Brady-Giglio the same person that touched the sheath? What else? Thank you, Murky. What else? That's the only thing that makes, just like yesterday when it's this 8-hour delay, the only thing that makes sense to me is that the reason why the IGG information can't be released is because the person that's under the Brady-Giglio is the person that touched the fucking sheath. Boom, right? It's the only thing that makes sense. Wouldn't that be fucking something? The person that was part of the chain of custody is part of the Brady-Giglio. And that's why they can't put the information out there, because somebody's life will be in danger Why? Because the investigation is still going on. And if that information was put out there, then their name would be released. The officer, speculation. Read the ticker below. Oh, it showed up at the perfect time too. My speculation is the officer that's on the chain of custody is under the Brady-Giglio, and that person touched. I wouldn't be surprised if they're not the first name on the chain of custody. The state better have a chain on sheet. I bet you that's it. I bet you the person that has the Brady-Giglio is the person that's part of the chain of custody of the sheath, which then goes to DNA. It starts before the DNA. It starts at the sheath. So then that's why you have to question every single thing when it comes to the process. That's why Ann Taylor, I bet, wanted the 3 officers' training records to see. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Ann Taylor wanted the training records of the 3 officers to see if any one of them were proficient and certified to handle crime scene DNA. If they were certified, you have to keep up on certifications. And that person probably was not. Nope. That person was probably one of the first names on the chain of custody, and I wouldn't be surprised if that person is the reason why they can't release the information. Yep. I don't know. It's just what makes sense. It just makes sense. And we just listened to Andrea Burkhart. Let me play that again. Everybody, and then we'll get to Crime Circus. I promise. Let me play this again real quick.
But from person to person, person to person to object, person to person to person. So there have been numerous instances of cases where
Thank you, Cindy.
Convictions have occurred due to reliance on this type of evidence. The most prominent one is a gentleman named Lucas Anderson, who, as it turned out, his DNA was found underneath the fingernails of a murder victim, and the defense was subsequently later able to tie that to his having been treated by paramedics, first responders, shortly before they then responded to the crime scene and handled this body. So
okay, I'm glad you mentioned that. That I could understand how it's explainable. Out of all places for the DNA to be, and I hear what you're saying about the difference between skin cells and blood. Out of all places, it's not found on a doorknob. It's not found on the carpet. It is found on a knife sheath.
Okay, is that the interview that we watched yesterday? Is that the interview where she was on with him and he was like going nutso? And please go show some love on that video, or even just leave a comment on what you think it could be. When it comes, are the IGG docs and the chain of custody secrecy because of the Brady-Giglio? I think it is. I don't know. What else makes sense? But is this from the one that we watched a couple days ago? It is? You think? Okay. I'm gonna rewatch that part. Let me see here. Let me see exactly what he says at the beginning, because I want to see what they say
So
after.
the DNA evidence, you've described it as strong.
Okay, we'll just DNA evidence. I want to recheck that part out. I want to see just that little segment there. Okay, we're going to get to this Crime Circus video here. And let me get the link for that. I know y'all are subbed. But if you're not... Alright, let's check out this new video.
Because I'm known for booms. Yes, I created quite the buzz on YouTube with the booms. And now all of your favorite creators say it. Anyways, check out this explosion. I have recently obtained a higher resolution image of the alleged doorknob that leads to the alleged secret passageway, aka the basement, aka the tunnel, aka we don't know what it is. I previously showed you the best image I had, and it was blurry. I questioned the authenticity of it. And now look what we have here. This image has been scrubbed from all of the internet. Well, not exactly all of it, because now we have it right here in Crime Circus in front of millions and millions and millions of eyeballs. Shout out to each and every single one of you and your eyeballs. Yeah. What do we...
Yeah, we've seen that. What's up, Yoli? How you doing?
Hi there. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we talked about this. Oh my gosh, this was back in... I mean, shit.
Yeah, isn't it an electrical outlet?
This was like, oh my gosh. April or May? We talked about this? No, for real. I had like two or three people on panel that night. Yeah, because we were you know that 360 website that you can do like that virtual tour of the house. There was a feature on it where you could click on it because it had a thing where it gave you like the virtual angle, and then there was for each room there was a picture that you could click on, because this was a debate, because somebody was like, hey, did you see this thing back there? And I'm like, no, what are you talking about? We went on the virtual thing and they said, no, you got to click on the picture thing that loads the real picture from Zillow or whatever. So once you click on it,
yeah,
then
I
you
don't
could
know. It
zoom
looks like
into it. You could zoom into it and you could see all this. I don't know. Did nobody really know about this?
well, to me it looks like it's plugged.
Shit, this shows back on. I'm gonna have to look it up. I mean, shit, yeah, because we kind of really dug into it. Like nobody knew about this.
Yes, an electrical outlet. That's what I think it is.
No, to me it looked like a door, a handle. It looked like a square. To me, it looked like a little handle that you turn, and it had like a square base to it, and there's a little handle off to the side, and then it had, you know, maybe like a teeny little, whatever you call that thing for a door lock, you know, a door. But yeah, you could zoom in on it and everything. I'm gonna have to find that episode, and I'm gonna show you guys. Yeah, I thought everybody knew about this. It, to me, because it was when we were, it had to be like April or around April sometime.
You know,
yeah.
Looking at it on my screen, it looks like an
like
outlet to me.
Yeah.
We're talking about the one to the right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You said that looks like a door to you?
No, not a door. I said it looks like a lock, like a latch. I'm not saying it's a door. That's what people were talking about, because that was one of the topics. It must have tunnels in the title or something from way back then. But no, I'm gonna find it now because I'm gonna show you guys. Like, yeah, this shit was like forever ago. But no, we because somebody was saying that there was tunnels and stuff, and somebody brought on. They sent me a
Yeah.
picture. They sent me a picture that had like this, because you'll see it on the stream. They sent me a picture that had like this layout of, yeah, detective, like a secret room or something. And it showed like these red lines of where this room was supposed to be. And this was supposed to be the door. And I was like, get the hell out of here. You know, I was like, get the hell out of here. And they're like, no, wait, look, go to the thing. So I went to the thing and I'm like, I don't see it. And they're like, no, you got to click on the picture. So I clicked on the picture and I was like, what the fuck? And then we zoomed in and we I took a picture of it, zoomed in on the picture. Like we were digging into it. But to me, I was like, okay, so what? It doesn't mean that it's a secret door. So then we just moved on. I'm gonna find that episode, damn it. That was like,
Okay.
yeah, not tonight though. Shit, it's gonna take me a minute unless there's a super
Oh.
sleuther out there. Unless there's a super sleuther out there that's able to find it and give me the link. Sure, it had to be March, April, May, somewhere around there. And you'll see, you could scroll your thumbnail across it, and you'll see us having this up on the screen and everything. Oh, for sure. This is crazy. Okay. Yeah, you remember it, Kentucky Girl? Like, it was to me, I was like, okay. Like, to me, I'm like, a secret room. Like,
You
really?
must have had other people on panel, right?
I had a couple.
Yeah.
I had a couple people up on panel. I think I had two or three, maybe something like that. And yeah, we were all talking about it, and I was like, there ain't no damn door handle. They're like, yeah, there is. Look. And so I looked on it, and sure enough, we zoomed in, and I'm like, okay, it doesn't mean that there's a secret room. And then we just moved on because, you know, there's always, you know, I always have something. So yeah, I'm gonna find it.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to help me find it, let me know what episode it is, and we'll check it out for a night. A certain part.
Yeah, that would be good.
All right.
Because I
I thought
remember
everybody knew.
I remember the episode that you had where you had people speculating or looking at it, but I don't think I ever thought it. I thought it was a plug. It looked like a plug-in to me with something plugged in. Like it looked like, I don't know. It did look suspicious, but it didn't look like a door handle.
I don't know. I can't see it being a plug though, because you're not going to put a plug in the corner of a wall, you know, and you're not going to put a plug, number one, in that tight where the corner is, and then usually it's at least off 5 or 6 inches from a corner or a floor, you know.
Well, there is a little desk there, like a little makeshift desk to the left of it.
Yeah, but that's not where the thing. Hold on. Let's take a picture. You got now. We got to do this all over again, Yoli. I could have been playing my old episode.
Oh, we don't have to go into this.
We
It's
could have
okay.
just been. We could have just been kicking it. No,
It's because Drip Drop brought it up.
We're gonna do it. I thought everybody knew. Hold on.
An old farmhouse door lock? I wouldn't know. I don't know about farmhouses.
Hold on. I gotta save it and send it. Hold on. We'll zoom in on it.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
What?
I don't know. I was going to say something, but I don't know.
Let's see here. I gotta find it now. All right, there it is.
You found it?
Yeah, I gotta skim through. I have my case files are like, the folders are just crazy. Pictures and videos and documents and all right. See, it's got a little latch right there. See it? You open it up from the bottom. It's got a little latch right there.
Now it looks like a hinge to me.
Hold on. Let me zoom it in even more. Yeah.
It looks like a hinge to me now.
That's what I'm saying. It don't look like no electrical outlet. It looks like a latch. You know what I'm saying?
No, it doesn't look like a latch either. It looks like a hinge.
What is it?
You don't like a hinge?
A hinge? To me, it looks like you pull it up and it unlatches.
Pull it up?
Yeah, like you got to pull it up and then it unlatches or it pushes in the little, whatever that little thing that sticks out for the door. It's
okay,
it's a latch.
Do you see a black wire coming out of it?
Black wire coming out of it? No, it's a shadow. Brian, what are you doing, Brian? Echo, thank you. I appreciate it. Oh, thank you, Kentucky. Slide over to the side of that portion. This is as far over as I took the picture.
Well, I have some other glasses, but I don't know where they are right now.
Hold on. Yeah, it just shows a wall after that. But yeah, there's a little, you pull it up and you go in. I just thought it was maybe like some kind of, like in some houses, because it was renovated, right? So like in some houses, they have a spot that's just like dirt, and then the floor underneath from the floor that's in the house, and it's just like dirt underneath, and it might not even be that big of a space or a space at all to put stuff in. I just think that's what it is.
I don't know. I'm very confused. I mean, at first I thought it was a plug-in, then I thought it was a hinge, and now I'm looking at it again because Brian said there's a black wire coming out of it. Right. And I don't know what it is. I don't. There's maybe somebody who's familiar with barn doors.
Zooms in is on the other side. Okay. Yeah, let's get back to the video. Yeah, I'm gonna find that episode. I like it's gonna be an old school CJ episode 2, because I know that one is from the beginning of the year. So I'm sure. Yeah, it's one of those.
D. Smith says maybe it is a latch to help hold the cabinet close to secure it to the wall.
Oh, yeah, but hold on. Then look, you got the bars here attached to that part. So then those bars would have to come out too. And you got bars in the middle as well. I think that's all stationary. You do make a very good point, but then think about it like this. Okay, let me get back to the picture. Where do you see the hinges? Right here, if it does open up, right? Where do you see the hinges? Because the hinges are going to be right here, because the hinges aren't going to be inside. They're going to be on the outside right here. There are no hinges.
I don't see any hinges there. No.
I don't think it's opening up. I think all of that's stationary. That's why I think this right here is what actually, it might be a small ass crawl space between where the house, the two parts of the house meet, and then the hill. It could be a small ass crawl space, and there's just a door there.
Oh well, I don't know.
I don't know. That would be interesting to find out. I don't think you're crazy, Brian. I'm just saying that. I don't always think you're crazy.
Yeah.
I mess with you more than. Yeah, it's a latch. I think it's a latch for the door. All right. Let's
Okay.
get into this video here. Hold on. Let me get rid of us out of the way. Over here. All right.
You see here. What are we looking at? I'm going to give you a little perspective so you know exactly where in the house you're looking at this image. Right here.
Yeah.
The lower right bedroom. This was allegedly being used.
Yeah, see. And so it'll have like it could have like a little small crawl space right there where you can't even maybe put nothing in there. Who knows? It couldn't open outward though. There's got to be something behind there then, because it can't open towards you. It has to open in, and if there's a small ass crawl space, I don't see how it could open in. There would have
why wouldn't it be able to open towards you?
Because if you look at it, shit, I just took the picture away. Hold on.
And now look what we have.
All right.
Oh yes, I see what you're saying.
It
Oh
couldn't
no,
open
it still
towards
could.
No, because of the bars.
No, it may not go up as high as the bars. Meaning, look at the color. I mean, meaning it could just be below the bars. No,
I see this. I see the same fade going all the way around.
No, I don't know.
And then you zoom in. You look at the molding. Let me bring up that picture again. You look at the molding, and the molding sticks out on the bottom. I'll have to take 1 second. Let me take another picture. And then I'll show you what I mean. Because the molding would actually block it on the floor.
Well, maybe it slides.
I don't know. Let's take a deeper look.
Right?
I gotta send another one because I didn't get the full bottom there. Where in the hell? Okay, there it is. All right. So see the molding down here in the bottom?
Mm-hmm.
That would block it from opening towards you.
Mm-hmm.
And it couldn't open towards you because you got the bars, you got the molding. So
sorry.
It would have to open outward into a ribbon. It would have to. All right, we'll get to this video now.
Here. This image has been scrubbed from all of the internet. Well, not exactly all of it, because now we have it right here in Crime Circus in front of millions and millions and millions of eyeballs. Shout out to each and every single one of you and your eyeballs. Yeah. What do we see here? What are we looking at? I'm going to give you a little perspective so you know exactly where in the house you're looking at this image. Right here. The lower right bedroom. This was allegedly being used as a storage room. This is where we all saw those golf clubs in the crack of the window blinds when the police officer was being a peeping pervert.
Stupid fucking idiots.
I can't wait to get back into the body cam stuff. What do you do? Almost fall?
Stupid fucking idiots.
Yeah, right here. What secrets does this room hold?
Damn,
and
look
why
at that.
was the FBI re-investigating the house after I released my explosive videos talking about the tunnels? I literally made multiple videos saying that house holds clues that need to be investigated. And then right after I said it, the FBI decides to go into the house and investigate and look for more clues. Yeah.
I thought they were.
You know that's a boom, ladies and gentlemen. Boom. Other creators take note. This is how you find booms. You have to look.
You just think.
You have to look deep into the imagery, and you have to look at the bigger picture in these things. You can't just look at a picture for what it is. You have to see what's hidden within the pictures. Just like when Moscow PD was looking for any and all evidence of students' pictures. They said they weren't going to look for what was happening within the foreground of the photo, but maybe something happening in the back of the photo. Yeah, so you could say we're doing some advanced police department investigative research here. But no affiliation, of course. This is independent, just me and you, universally worldwide. Yeah, we are. So, you're going to have to leave me a comment down below. What does this mean? Is that a doorknob? Or isn't it a doorknob? And how come this image specifically was taken down from all realtor websites, but the rest of the photos were left up for a while? They've pretty much all been removed now at this point. But this photo was really, 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 really hard to find.
That's why I love my old shows, because we can go back and watch all that shit, even though it's gone. It's beautiful. I'm going to have to do that. Look for those old episodes. We kind of did a bunch of walking around in that house, because I can't even do the tour anymore. They just give you certain photos now. It's not even... It's not even like it used to be. Yeah. It's true. They've taken a lot of shit away off of it. So I'm going to have to do that. Look for those old and then watch some of these walkarounds that we did.
I need new glasses, I think.
Make some clips out. Yeah. I do too. Oh, well.
Well, I mean, we don't know what's there or what was there or whether it's even related to the crime, so.
Oh, it could be for sure. I love documentaries on New York subways. Ryan.
And one of my viewers actually sent it to me because I have really, really, really good viewers that send me tips all the time. Informants, clue givers, helpers, button clickers. Together here at Crime Circus, we are the hive mind. We learn from each other and we give each other clues. And we don't even need to name names because you know who you are. Thank you.
I shout you
Anyways,
out. I want to.
You like explosions? Well, let's go to explosion number 2
Everybody
in this
deserves
video. Let's revisit this famous video of Maddie, Kaylee, and Jack all leaving Corner Club walking up the street. I previously showed you the rubber legs. Some of you said she was just being silly. Well, guess what? Silly doesn't give you rubber legs, and human legs don't bend that way. No. Legs don't bend that way, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so sorry. And just to give you a quick reminder on that, look at this. You'd have to have triple joints in your kneecaps for your leg to swing that way. I dare you to try it and upload it to TikTok if you're able to.
Oh, don't do that,
That'll be a new
dude.
TikTok challenge if you're foolish enough to have the TikTok app, because that is spyware and virus.
Yeah.
RIP to you if you...
For real, that's why I don't even update that damn app. That's one app that is never, ever gonna be updated for shit.
Yeah, no, I don't have that app.
Ticket 56, thank you, Sudi. Yeah, fuck TikTok. That edge is cut around the latch if it... Yeah, I see what you're saying, Susan. What's up, dog fan? I hope she follows up with that video or the chicken. Oh, she's gonna. She has to. Did you watch that, Yoli? Did you see that this morning or last night?
Which one?
When Truth and Transparency last night.
With the body cam of the guy that was postal. He was
Yeah.
Hey, that was a bad combination right there, but that tells you why. That whole video tells you why there needs to be more stringent tests as far as emotional and mood and as to how a person is going to react in that way, because he's supposed to de-escalate, not escalate the whole thing by breaking down on the kids. Oh my God.
I
kids
know.
were in there.
And he had such force that he like, he had to have like yanked that to him to bust that part of the, the plastic on the door that holds the window in track, as it's going up and down. And half that shit was broken too, and it's just like, whoa, dude. And then not only that, he just starts ripping it sideways, and it's just
even if you have somebody like that or somebody who's mentally ill, I mean, how are these cops dealing with it? That was an awful response to her behavior. I mean, granted, she was being a little spicy and was,
it seemed elementary-ish to me the first couple minutes, like, oh yeah, okay, cool, all right, like it was,
yeah, but you don't
sure, cool, what?
You know what you do? You take the license plate and then you issue a ticket later.
Oh, Susan. Oh shit. He should have just walked back like he said in the beginning. He said, yo, I'll just scratch you a ticket real quick. He should have. Okay, fine. I'm going back to the car. But then after he does all that, the rip in the window, then all of a sudden he's like, hey kids, is there any reason why your mom is acting this way? Hey kids, does your mom have
maybe because there's a cop?
Yeah, she's got an Uzi, officer. Like, mama's packing a Uzi and a 15-year-old,
She's holding us hostage.
Yeah.
She's kidnapped us. Oh my God. Law enforcement are required to take, the FBI is required to take a psychological test. The MMPI, Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Test. I don't know about local law enforcement, but the FBI is.
Oh, that shit was so funny.
It was horrible.
It was childish. It was straight up childish.
But the cop should be the better person. The cop should be the better person.
For sure.
I mean,
and you better hope that if anything, those children got some kind of counseling or something for real, like out of that, if anything, even if they like, squashed it straight up, at least them kids, they better have had somebody to talk to, man, because that's some wild shit, man. You're sitting there in the vehicle with your mom and she's getting pulled over for speeding, and then next thing you know, the freaking cop just boom, like they probably weren't even looking, and all of a sudden
that's dangerous. That is just absolutely. I tell you, these cops, they get a badge and sometimes they think that they're all that. And that's what you have to screen for, because once they get that power, boy, they wield it like, and it's like, you got to be the bigger person. You're going to run into all kinds of people when you're on the beat. You're going to run into all kinds, homeless, mentally ill. You got to be the better person. Okay. Yeah. Granted, she may have been a little feisty. She may have been a little over the top.
Walk to your car. Give a ticket.
Oh, no, that was bad.
See you later. I'm sure I'll run into you again.
And the kids, I mean,
hopefully they got some. Yeah, he was picking the glass out of his hand too, because the dumbass fucking, after he broke it, the dumbass fucking was grabbing it and yanking it to the side. I'm sure he had quite a few cuts on his hands. Fucking grabbing it and then yanking it, because really when you're yanking, you're shoving those shards more in your more in your hand.
They need to have him watch that video as a learning experience.
Sure. Oh, it was nuts. But it was a little childish arguing back and forth there, and then all of a sudden it just went to a whole nother level after that damn window. Yeah, that shit was crazy.
Yeah, de-escalate, not escalate.
Right. Oh no, they both crabby that day. All right, so this is talking about Maddie's legs.
No,
Oh,
it was
No,
Kaylee's.
no.
huh?
Legs don't
Kaylee's, I thought.
No, I think he's talking about Maddie's.
bend that way, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so sorry. It
Let's see.
doesn't give you rubber walking up the street. I previously showed you the rubber legs. Some of you said she was just being silly. Well, guess what? Silly doesn't give you rubber legs, and human legs don't bend that way. No.
What's up, Angel?
No, no, no. Legs don't bend that way, ladies
Hey,
and
Liz.
gentlemen. I'm so sorry.
Kaylee's. No.
And just to give you a quick reminder on that, look at this. You'd have to have triple joints in your kneecaps for your leg to swing that way. I dare you to try it and upload it to TikTok if
So what is everybody thinking that? What, that she's double jointed or something? Or what? I don't.
No, he's
What?
trying
I
to,
don't. I'm being serious. Is she double? What is she? Double
he's trying to
jointed?
say that the video is altered in some way, and then he goes on to talk about Disneyland and
Oh.
how Disneyland has altered videos, and he gives some example. Well, just keep watching.
Okay, because I'm like, okay, because I didn't watch that one about the legs or whatever photoshopped. Okay, I thought maybe she was double jointed. I was like, damn, she should have been a break dancer.
corner club walking up the street. I previously showed you the rubber legs. Some of you said she was just being silly. Well, guess what? Silly doesn't give you rubber legs, and human legs don't bend that way. No, 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 no. Legs don't bend that way, ladies and
I gotta see what you guys are. I mean, sorry, detective. Don't trust in the place. Sorry. Oh, it's all good, dog fan. Could it be a shadow? No. It can't be a shadow.
If she's knock-kneed, meaning her knees go in, she could probably do that. Yeah.
Like a double joint kind of thing?
I don't know if it's double jointed, but knock-kneed.
Knock
I don't know.
need?
Meaning when your feet are straight, your knees are in. And then when your feet are this way, your knees are straight.
Whoa. No way.
Yeah.
No, because we've seen her on body cam, and when she came out with the dress and her knees were straight.
Well, you can't really see it unless they're walking. I mean, well, I don't know. Look up the definition of knock-kneed and you'll see what it's about. It's
What's up, Gemini? Knock need.
Knock and then Kneed. Oh, Kneead maybe.
Knock need. It sounds like a superhero.
No.
Knock need. Knock need.
Yeah.
All right, let me.
It's the opposite of bow-legged. Yes.
Bow-legged. All right. Oppo bow. Knock need. All right. We'll check it out. Maybe. Maybe.
legs, and human legs don't bend that way. No, 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 no.
What's up, D. Marie?
Legs don't bend that way, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so sorry. And just to give you a quick reminder on that, look at this. You'd have to have triple joints in your kneecaps for your leg to swing that way. I dare you to try it and upload it to TikTok if you're able to. Maybe that'll be a new TikTok challenge if you're foolish enough to have the TikTok app, because that is spyware and virus. RIP to you if you have that. Sorry, not sorry. So check this out. That was the beginning of the video. Maybe we can get a better understanding if we look at the ending of that video.
I don't know what am I?
Well, why?
Okay, what am I?
I
Talk to
don't
me
know
here.
either. They said that it was a big head, that the heads grew like
The heads grew?
shapeshifters.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't see it, but
because I had, damn it, I had chicken nuggets last night and I used all my damn tinfoil. Shit. I don't have any left.
Sorry.
Their heads grew.
yeah, it's just it's silly. It's silly. I think it's
I had
silly.
chicken nuggets last night. I didn't think I would need it, but damn, now I do tonight, huh?
And actually,
the heads grew.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, there's a dance. There's a dance where the knees go in like that too. I didn't see it, but
Whose head? Whose head am I looking at?
he'll tell you.
I'm sorry, I didn't see anybody's head grow. I didn't see anybody's head.
No,
grow.
I know. This is a comedy. He's being comical, I think.
Okay.
I think he's being comical.
Okay. Okay, and Kayleen's all the way this way, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to play that again. Hold on. Hold on. Let me get in prime position here.
Hang on, I'll be right back. I saw this video. I saw it multiple times. I didn't see anything, so I don't know. I'll be right back.
You're good. Okay, I'm gonna check this out. I gotta get the right angle for this. I don't know. I'm not. Hold on. What's up, everybody? What's up, Thomas? Okay. So are you guys talking about right here? Right there. Is that where you saying or is that where you're saying the head grew? The pipe? So- Is someone else supposed to be in the gap? Four people? Deb. Please hit the like if you haven't yet. It's a free way to help. What's up, Thomas? What's up, Misty? It's been edited. Someone has been deleted from it. Really? I see what looks like if you're talking about this spot right here, to me it looks like a shadow because they're walking by whatever kind of structure is next to them on the sidewalk. And then once that structure ends, then I see like a shadow pop up, like that structure was blocking the shadow until the structure didn't exist anymore. And then the shadow from the lights reflected down on the sidewalk because it didn't have an obstruction to block it. So that's what I took away from it.
Yeah, I didn't see anything.
I didn't see anybody's head grew. I could see how maybe people thought maybe after the structure, but to me the structure ends and it seems like a shadow or something. All right, we'll go ahead and play it. Let me make sure I'm on the right speed here. Nope, I'm not. There we go.
I personally think he was being silly. I don't know.
Who? Drip Drop?
Yeah.
Oh.
Better understanding if we look at the ending of that video. Well, why don't you tell me? What did you see there? Anything of relevance? Anything noteworthy? Anything worth investigating? Or nothing? Let's take another look. I'm going to slow it down this time.
What's up,
We
Denver?
see this black metal pipe here, some type of railing or parking meter or something of the sort. I don't know. But what we do know, it's visible when it shouldn't be visible. When Kaylee walks in front of it, we shouldn't be able to see what's behind Kaylee unless Kaylee is invisible. Do we have any reason to believe Kaylee possessed invisibility powers?
What?
No, we don't. Let's take another look. Also, why does Kaylee's head double in size, but her two friends don't?
A shadow.
Jack and Maddie's heads remain the exact same size.
And why wouldn't you see what you saw before they walk up to it? I'm so confused.
Yeah. He's basically trying to say that Kaylee is translucent, which I don't see that.
It's just the shitty quality.
I don't see that.
No. I mean, that's where I came up with the conclusion because I looked at it and I'm like, well, I see a structure. The structure stops where my arrow is. And then after that, it's done. So then I watched it a couple more times. I noticed right after the figure goes by the structure ending is when what I think is a shadow that pops out. Of course, you're going to see behind her what you saw in front of her.
Yeah. So Mei Lee is asking if we could just play it without interruption because it interrupts the mind.
Yeah. Sorry.
We'll just keep quiet.
No, hold on. Let me go all the way back here.
Enough to have the TikTok app because that is spyware and a virus. RIP to you if you have that. Sorry, not sorry. So check this out. That was the beginning of the video. Maybe we can get a better understanding if we look at the ending of that video.
Oh, thank you, typically.
Well, why don't you tell me? What did you see there? Anything of relevance? Anything noteworthy? Anything worth investigating? Or nothing? Let's take another look. I'm going to slow it down this time. We see this black metal pipe here, some type of railing or parking meter or something of the sort. I don't know. But what we do know, it's visible when it shouldn't be visible.
Like a bench.
When Kaylee walks in front of it, we should...
Whoops, here, sorry. Sudi.
Well, why don't you tell me? What did you see there? Anything of relevance? Anything noteworthy? Anything worth investigating? Or nothing? Let's take another look. I'm going to slow it down this time. We see this black metal pipe here, some type of railing or parking meter or something of the sort. I don't know. But what we do know, it's visible when it shouldn't be visible. When Kaylee walks in front of it, we shouldn't be able to see what's behind Kaylee unless Kaylee is invisible. Do we have any reason to believe Kaylee possessed invisibility powers? No, we don't. Let's take another look. Also, why does Kaylee's head double in size, but her two friends don't? Jack and Maddie's heads remain the exact same size. So, Kaylee's head doubles in size, gets taller, and the black pipe shows up in front of her when we shouldn't be able to see it. Boom. Remember, I previously let you know about NASA and Disney helping out in Delphi, Indiana with the bridge guy. The cartoonish bridge video that they released. Because that's what those two companies do. Disney, NASA does animations. Yeah.
So that video was made from Disney? The bridge guy video from Delphi was made from Disney?
Well, I don't know a lot about Delphi, but he's saying that there's a cartoonish video of the suspect, and I don't know. I have no idea what he's talking about. Maybe he's gone,
Like, no, I'm asking. No, does anybody is that true?
I have no idea.
The bridge guy video in Delphi was done from Disney?
His legs?
When does Pixar help the FBI with video editing? No shit. So Pixar helped the FBI with the video editing of that video? What? Yeah, I remember Grizz doing a video on it, but I didn't understand. I was confused.
I have no idea.
They did his legs on the bridge when he walks? Hold on. What?
The cartoonish bridge video that they released. Because that's what those two companies do. Disney, NASA does animations. Yeah. We don't know where this video came from or who had their hand in it before it was released to us. We don't know if this video is authentic or not, and we don't know who did any sort of funny editing to it. But I know you shouldn't be able to see a black pipe in front of a human being if the black pipe is behind the human being.
No.
And heads can't double in size unless you have some sort of shape-shifting abilities. Ladies and gentlemen, this investigation has gotten crazy. You know it has. And the craziest thing is, I'm not the crazy one. I'm not the one just making these things up. These are authentic videos as I found them from official sources, such as the mainstream media. This is what they presented us, and we are investigating the clues because
If anybody knows the link to Grizz's video, let me know and we'll share that. That's crazy. So that video wasn't even fucking real? Wow.
Well,
every clue
we don't
could
know
and
that.
should be.
Huh?
We don't know that it wasn't real. It's just that people are questioning it.
It's as real as the damn DNA match. It could be Joe Dirt.
I don't know.
That could be Joe Dirt. I thought it was the real video.
It may be, but I'm not a video person. The person to ask would be Unravel.
I mean, Yo, I mean, if you got freaking Pixar, like let's come on, they make some movies where you go to the theater and you're like, damn, that's a cartoon and that's a head of hair. Like it's so realistic now.
But how do we know Pixar helped?
It's so realistic now, and now you got Jimmy Crack fucking Cricket jumping all over the place, like you're putting Penelope fucking legs on Bridge Guy and shit, and like it might not even be real. What the hell is this? Like Pixar hair looks real now. What's up, Truth and Transparency? Thank you for. Aw, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. Thank you so much. Thank you for the super chat too. Thank you so much. Such a sweetheart.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know.
Bomb shows too. Bomb shows. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, bomb shows.
That's crazy. Using Pixar to make Bridge Guy walk. Right?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. All I have to say is the audio real?
Crazy. That's crazy. So don't tell me they're going to use some shit like that in Koberger's case, where they got him doing the chubby checker, twist right in front.
Nah, they got to go to the judge. They got to authenticate videos.
Yeah.
They got to authenticate videos.
Let's do the twist. No. New TikTok video. Never update TikTok, people. Get rid of that app. That's ugh. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. That's crazy. No, I need to know for real. I need to know. Does Pixar
Do you need to
really
know now?
I need to know now if Pixar really helped with this Bridge Guy shit. This is crazy. I know Bridge Guy's on a loop. That's obvious, yo. It's like on a not even a second loop. That's so obvious because he's not doing the jiggy on the damn bridge. That's clear. But what I'm saying is did Pixar fill in the holes of the dude's legs like they did with the holes in the DNA for BK? Like, did they just fill that shit in with some spray foam? All of a sudden he's got legs. Even if it is a split, not even a second.
I don't know.
Something. No, I need to know. Is that true? I need to figure how do we we need to know. We need to know. Is that true? Like Pixar really is like
what's the basis
messing
for
with footage?
Well, so what's the basis for saying that Pixar is involved? I mean, just like where does that come from?
Imagine what they could do. Oh, what is it? I don't know. I think he's saying that Pixar was used to make the animation of the walk, even though it was on a loop. That's just what I'm assuming. But if they really are, can you imagine what they could like?
There's holes in the legs? What?
Can you imagine? Like they can fill in anything though, and they make hair look real as shit and everything. Hold on.
And the black pipe shows up in front of her when we shouldn't be able to see it. Boom. Remember, I previously let you know about NASA and Disney helping out in Delphi, Indiana with the bridge guy. The cartoonish bridge video that they released. Because that's what those two companies do. Disney.
See, it's not even a second. So what they do, add shoes? Because it doesn't look like his shoes are above the railroad ties.
The car.
Okay, now they do. It's just the shitty camera. See this? So what did they? I don't see by the knee. Hold on. Check the hole on his jeans by the knee.
I see the hole by the knee in the jean. So
This?
unless his kneecap is black, or he has a patch on it, or it's a shadow, like similar to the shadows that are down below his ankles, where his ankles are.
Yeah, I don't know. Inbox? What inbox, Angel? Watch the jeans have a hole. I think it's just shitty video. Just like, here, let me rewind it. I think it's just shitty video. Oh, it's a shadow. Yeah, because it goes away and then it bends and crinkles and turns into a shadow. Yeah, there's no hole. See how it crinkles? Turns into a shadow. Yeah.
This whole thing with drip drop, I didn't understand it, but I thought it was being funny.
Okay. Let me go back to regular speed. All right.
The cartoonish bridge video that they released, because that's what those two companies
Turns into
do.
a duck.
Disney, NASA does animations. Yeah. We don't know where this video came from or who had their hand in it before it was released to us. We don't know if this video is authentic or not, and we don't know who did any sort of funny editing to it. But I know you shouldn't be able to see a black pipe in front of a human being if the black pipe is behind the human being.
No.
And heads can't double in size unless you have some sort of shape-shifting abilities. Ladies and gentlemen, this investigation has gotten crazy. You know it has. And the craziest thing is, I'm not the crazy one. I'm not the one just making these things up. These are authentic videos as I found them from official sources, such as the mainstream media. This is what they presented us, and we are investigating the clues, because each and every clue could and should be very important. And nothing gets past us here. Nothing. Some of you out there even like to look for reflections in windows in parking lots. Very observant of you. So super observant. I haven't seen any reflections myself just yet, but maybe I'll go looking very soon because I'd love to see some reflections. I just hope it's not like looking for faces in clouds because I can't ever see any. Anyways, let's see what Maddie Mogan has to say for herself.
All right, can you hear me, Maddie?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Do you live at 1122 Queen Street?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Well. Did you hear that? Is there any doubt now what the address was? I told you what it was. And now the previous tenant and the victim has told you what it was. Thank you so much for speaking from the grave, Maddie Mogan. R.I.P. We appreciate you. 1122 Queen Road.
Yes, I do.
So why do they keep telling us it's King Road?
It's King Road because we watched we actually watched the city planning meeting when it came to that block. And that was the same question that was brought up in that city meeting was, why is it still being labeled King if this is how the new renovation of that block is going to go? And then that person went into the explanation of why it's still 1122 King Road. So I'll definitely find that and I'll share the link. We don't have to watch it, but I'll share it with you guys and you can watch the whole thing. It's actually, I think it's about a little over an hour long. Very interesting because you're literally watching them talk about the planning and the zones and the verbiage and all of that stuff. And because I wanted to know myself, why a long time ago, why is this called King if it's on, why is it called King if it's on Queen? And then we watched the city planning meetings. They're on YouTube, so I'll go through my old folder and I'll find it and I'll share it with you guys. It's a good watch, though. It really, I still didn't understand why they still kept it as king the way that they wanted to word it, but it was the way that the block was structured. That's just how they have it. I don't know. It's old, though. It's like 2015 or 16 when they had that meeting, I think. It was a couple years before they renovated that whole block.
Something to consider. It's something to think about. Why would they do this to us? If the address is what it is, why don't they just tell us the real address for this real crime? Maybe I should get the angel wing tattoo as a little memorial piece, as a little RIP to Maddie. What do you think? Comment down below if you think that would look good on me. And if so, should I get it just above my elbow like she did? We need to know. Also, I feel it's my duty and obligation to let you know there is a lot of disinfo agents working behind the scenes and in front of the scenes, so on and so forth, etc. in this case. People that want to deceive you. People that will put out false information. Sometimes it'll be the commenters. Sometimes it'll be the YouTubers themselves. You really can't trust anybody in this case. Some of the things I've seen, super sus. Red flags. Red alerts. Everything I see, it's sus to us. For example, some misinformed people try to stir up things in the comment section. Pay them no mind. They're only there to deceive you, rile you up, and to question your core beliefs. For example, some people are convinced BK's family knows he did it. No, that's not true. That's tabloid information coming from third parties. His family has made no statements of any kind saying their son or brother is guilty. Hasn't happened. Also worth mentioning, many of you are so confused. Maddie Mogan's ID was not found in Brian Koberger's parents' house in a glove in a box. An ID was found in a glove in a box, and you don't know whose ID it was. It was probably his own ID. I've got all kinds of IDs and all kinds of miscellaneous places in my home, and they're mostly all mine. No victims of any kind. Thank you. If they really had that kind of evidence against Brian Koberger, he wouldn't even be defendable. If you found a victim's ID in his parents' house, boom, boom, yeah. He'd be guilty, and I would tell you he's guilty, because we don't defend guilty people here. No. Brian Koberger's attorney, Ann Taylor, is a University of Idaho alumni graduate. She certainly wouldn't defend a cold-blooded monster who passed away 4 university students. You know how bad that would be on her conscience and how bad that would be for her reputation in that small little area? It'd be pretty bad. Ann Taylor has said there was no connection between her client and the victims. And do we believe her? Yeah, we do. Do we know if Ann Taylor to be a liar? No, we don't. She seems like an upstanding, honest woman. For being a public defender, she seems pretty good. Hopefully she's not double-crossing her own client and playing for the other side. We can only hope for the best right now. Because Brian Koberger's family is so poor, they can't even afford private counsel. And for a case like this, you certainly would hope you could get some private counsel. But he's got a public pretender. But this is a winnable case for her because there is no evidence that I've seen. If evidence exists, that would be news to me. If the prosecution wants to talk about octillions, well, then maybe we should start talking about reptilians. Yeah, and for those of you that know, you know. Shout out to you and your knowledge. If you're not aware of the reptilians, well, hang around Crime Circus long enough and maybe we'll talk about it. And I want to let you know out there, this investigation is only getting started. So if they do pass me away or try to frame me, you know I didn't do it. And you know I did this with a good heart, good intentions. That's the only reason to ever do anything in this life. If you have bad intentions when you're doing things, seek therapy and seek church ASAP. And a very brief reminder, I'm doing this for the victims and the victims' families because they really do deserve a thorough, proper investigation from people that don't have any skin in the game, so to speak. We don't have any agenda one way or the other, unlike some certain other people. And shout out to some of the tipsters that have sent me some explosive details that I just don't have time to talk about today. This goes to the tip top. We're talking islands in the Caribbean, private jets, mansions, some really wild things. And we're talking millions and even billions of dollars on the line. Yeah. This is serious, ladies and gentlemen, and you really need to start taking this investigation a lot more serious. People passed away. College students passed away. A fraternity bro and sorority sisters. Don't their lives matter? If you don't think so, please start acting like it, because they do. This case is the most important thing in all of our lives. And that's why we do this. And we will never stop doing this until we have answers. And then we should probably move on. Unless you don't want to ever move on, and we'll talk about Moscow, Idaho forever. And yeah, I'm at high risk discussing these various items of interest. But how pathetic would that be if I chose not to? I literally have to. And yeah, Baby Drip responding to you in the comments, that's official. Yeah. Shout out to Baby Drip. In closing, I have something a little extra special for you, a little bonus clip. I've slightly altered the audio to avoid copyright issues. Check this out. Maddie and Kaylee are IP. And there also appears to be some underage drinking happening once again.
Oh my God.
Boom. I'm not so sure I could be partying like that after my roommates croaked, but to each his own. I guess we all grieve a little differently. Yeah. Anyways, please consider helping support the show. Link to my Patreon down below. Free or paid. The free tier, there's really no...
I don't know.
That was one of the weird ones. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of hidden messages. I think he was being funny.
I hear video or something. Is that me or you? Oh, here we go. Okay, sorry. Now I couldn't... Hold on here. This is a playlist, okay? And I'm still looking for the actual meeting date. But here is the link to the website for Moscow, Idaho. This has all the Planning and Zoning Commission meetings. It's what I was talking about. Now, back in 2015, I think, is when they had this one for this block. And then it's set up a little differently. This is 2023. Back, 8 years ago or so, they actually stood and there was a model that they were working in front of. So it didn't necessarily have this. It didn't even have anything like this. It literally was a small room that had a guy standing up, one of those cardboard models of the block, and then they were able to move it and change it and kind of show what it is and what they're trying to do with it. And that's where they were trying to explain how it was still going to be labeled 1122 King Road. So if anybody wants to look it up, I'm sure you could Google it and find out the exact date that they had this meeting. And then here's the link for every single one of them. Hell, you're going all the way to 2014. And it's on one of them. I apologize. I don't remember which one. I thought it was in 2015. Let me just take a shot. 9/9/2015. No, it didn't even look like that. Maybe Yeah. So there's the link. If you can find it, definitely we'll show it here in the future. I don't want to drag up the show too much trying to find this thing because my Idaho folder is like crazy huge. So what's up, everybody?
Yeah, I do remember that where you had it Unravel on panel, and I was listening to it. I was walking my dog, and I was thinking, what the hell?
Yeah, how they were
talking about, and then it was like, oh my god, like the blind leading the blind, and they didn't know where this street was, and it's like, what am I listening to?
Yeah,
it sounds so disorganized.
It sounded very unorganized, and it didn't even sound like the person that was trying to explain the whole rezoning of everything. It didn't even sound like they knew what they were talking about.
And then they laughed. They all laughed at some point because it was like, they all laughed. It was like, oh shit, we don't really know what we're talking about. Like they all laughed, and it was like, I was like, what am I listening to? I didn't even know, but that was an interesting show.
Yeah, if anybody wants to find out the date, we'll go into it. We can watch it tonight. I just don't want to drag down the show trying to find it.
It's hilarious. I thought it was hilarious because I was listening to it. I'm like, what in God's name is this? Like,
but yeah, they're explaining why they kept it as 1122 King Road, because I wanted to know way back then. I'm like, why? And I wanted to know why, and so that's why somebody had sent it that night or whatever, and we checked it out, and I was like, that's pretty. It was boring though. I'm not gonna lie either. It was pretty boring.
I thought it was hilarious.
I don't know. It got kind of boring for me. All right. Let me see here. Now, we were going to watch an Andrea Burkhart video. And so this is discussing why she changed her mind about the IGG motion. And then I wanted to watch that part of the Law and Crime Network video where they were talking about the IGG. So this is Andrea Burkhart video from like 3 months ago. So just keep that in mind. So here's the link for that. So just keep that in mind. It's like 3 months ago that she made this. And then we'll get into that Law and Crime from a couple days ago. And we'll just watch the part where she's talking about the IGG.
On Friday morning for the motion on the investigative genetic genealogy discovery. I've read all the motions, the supporting declarations, and so forth, and frankly didn't have a really good outlook on the likelihood of success for the defense on this request. Don't think they're going to get what they're asking for. But I have to tell you, after sitting through the hearing and what I heard, my opinion has changed, and I now think there is a much better chance that they may actually get some, if not most, of this information. So I'm going to tell you why.
Scarlett. Ooh, I gotta mute that because of copyright. Scarlett, do you have the date of that 2017? Yeah, they had to remove the garage. Yeah, they had to remove the garage because the garage actually was out more. It was a weird fucking setup, but the garage was actually out more. And then because of the slope, the bottom of the garage, it was so crazy. You know how, like, if you're looking at a garage, Yoli, and there's a cement foundation, and if the cement foundation, you see like the cinder blocks underneath where the garage sits on, sometimes if the ground kind of sinks a little bit, you can see like there's like a small cinder block foundation under a garage. This thing was crazy. Like the front of the garage, the foundation was so high that the front of the garage like the foundation for the front was almost as big as the damn garage was. Like, it was weird as hell. Really weird layout.
That's because it's on slope.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, because of the slope. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's on a slope. So why did they make them
Why'd
take
they even
the
build a
garage?
garage there? Like, why
Yeah.
even build one?
But why did they make them take the
God.
garage out and have them put a second another story? Isn't that what happened? They built another.
Yeah, we need to watch it. That little zoning thing where because they had to talk. They had to remove the garage. She's right.
I didn't understand that.
Because I think it was too cluttered at that point. Maybe a fire hazard or something. Like the way the buildings were set up, it was a really weird layout.
I don't remember, but I do remember that that was a trade-off: is you get rid of the garage and you can have another level.
Yeah, I'll play this. Let me know, Scarlett, if you know or if anybody knows the date. Let's see here. Would be interesting to find out.
The challenge the defense has going into this motion is overcoming the state's argument that basically the IGG investigation is moot. They don't plan to use it at trial, and whether it was done correctly or incorrectly doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, they got Brian Kohberger's DNA from a cheek swab when they arrested him. And they have, according to the state, been able to match that DNA to the touch DNA that was found on the button of the knife sheath. So kind of a no harm, no foul type of situation. Why does it matter to go down this particular road? And so the defense, of course, has some answers for that. The main one, to me, from my perspective, is that they want to know how it fits into the investigation as a whole. They have a theory that the state had no suspicion of Brian Kohberger until they got this tip from the investigative genetic genealogy investigation that they need to go look at him. And then once having identified him as a suspect, they work backwards to try to find things that make it look like he probably did it. So they find a white car in the area around a time that's maybe consistent-ish with the time of the murders. Look for evidence with the cell phone towers, the pinging and so forth. Was he out and about that night? And basically use that to reverse engineer a case against Brian Kohberger. This is, from my perspective, perfectly valid defense strategy, something that they need to explore. But the problem is they don't need all of the details of the IGG investigation to be able to make that argument. They don't need a family tree or the steps that were taken to build a family tree in order to be able to do that. They just need the timeline of when did the police receive the tip. And they can get that through other sources. You can just question Detective Payne, for example, and ask him, when did you get this particular tip from the investigative genetic genealogy research? So that argument, while it's strong, it's a strong defense argument, I don't think it really provided the justification for this information that the defense needed. The second reason is because they argue that the police may have done it wrong. They may have broken the rules. They may have violated the terms of service. We'll say, as an aside, it was pretty fascinating sitting in court on Friday and hearing an investigative genetic genealogist who does this work for the state giving the specific directions on how the state can work around the limitations these databases have in place to keep police from being able to access the profiles of people who have opted out. Kind of understood that those types of things can happen, but how simple and how pervasive it is was certainly not something that I knew. You don't hear that type of thing in court very often, so that was kind of interesting. But the problem there that I saw is that the defense just hasn't done a really good job of previewing the arguments for the court about why that matters from a legal perspective. There's a lot of potential problems with a challenge to investigative genetic genealogy because it's predicated on the violation of other people's rights besides the defendant, third parties' rights. And generally speaking, in constitutional law, you don't get to assert the rights of a third party for your own benefit. This is a concept called standing that basically says that you're limited to your own privacy violations if you're going to seek suppression of evidence in court. So that's a big problem that the defense is going to have to overcome if they want to challenge this process and make an argument that if the police violated the terms of service, if they went and accessed DNA that they didn't have a right to access, that is somehow a violation of Brian Koberger's personal privacy rights protected by the Constitution, such that he has a viable argument to move to suppress something. They didn't do a good job of previewing that. It's a very difficult argument to make, in part because this is an extremely novel technology. This is very cutting edge, not just from the technology side, but certainly from the legal side. And so the defense, I felt, needed to do a little bit more to draw out, for example, when the U.S. Supreme Court is originally looking at DNA analysis, surreptitious collection of DNA, discarded DNA, that type of thing, and the extent of people's privacy interests in their DNA, part of the justification for the Supreme Court's reasoning that generally those things are allowed is that because the specific type of profiling that the police are using is limited, it gives them very limited and not particularly personal information about the suspect, that's part of why there isn't a reasonable expectation that people can say, I didn't give you the consent to go and, analyze my genome and do that type of thing with my personal genetic information. Well, that's a completely different situation with this new technology, where the profiles that are used contain an absolutely enormous amount of personal information about suspects. And so that's got a lot of trickle-down implications if law enforcement is allowed to just freely use this technology without any type of a warrant. Not to be too conspiratorial, but personally, I think there's a reason why the Department of Justice policy is currently that we're not going to use this evidence in court, because if you don't use it in court, it's a lot harder to challenge it legally. It's a lot harder to actually make law and actually look at these issues and see how they fit into the jurisprudence as a whole. So that could have been better previewed. I'm not trying to kick the defense or anything like that. They're extremely busy, and developing these types of arguments takes time. This is the sort of thing that I do for my work on appeal, and it really does require a lot of just brain space to let things percolate a little bit, to explore in your research things that you may not have thought about. When you're preparing for a trial, you don't really have the luxury of time and mental space to be able to do that. So I'm not trying to give them a hard time or blame them for not having this already, all sorted out in their briefing. But I'm just identifying that as a potential weakness I saw that led me to believe that, if they can't show the court why this would matter, why they would have a strong argument to suppress it anyway, then it makes it pretty unlikely to me that they would be allowed to access that information. So what changed my mind about how I think this motion has the potential to go? It had to do with the statistical evidence, the information that was presented about how these statistics work. So first off, there doesn't seem to be any dispute that when it comes to the actual laboratory processing of the sample, the development of the S&P profile, and that whole process, there doesn't seem to be really any dispute that the defense is entitled to and should get that. In fact, I believe the state conceded that they were going to go ahead and turn that part over because that fits within the scientific processes, tests, reports, etc., part of the discovery rule. But really what the state is trying to resist is the building out of the family tree, the part where the S&P profile then gets introduced into the database and the matches obtained and so forth. And that process that we heard about from the witnesses on Friday can take place. So they don't want to share that process. And the defense, I think, is rightfully suspicious. Why would you not want to do that? Probably, there's some problems with reliability of that information, problems with the terms of service, access, and so forth. So why would they potentially be entitled to the family trees? I thought the defense did a great job of presenting this argument through Stephen Mercer, the first witness that they called, who pointed out how it relates to the statistical modeling that the state uses when they present an STR profile. When the state is presenting evidence in court to say that this person's DNA was compared to DNA located at a crime scene, they attach a statistical likelihood, a probabilistic calculation to that being the same person. And basically the way that it is phrased is that the likelihood of it being somebody else is, 1 in a quadrillion, 1 in 10. I mean, it can be a wide range of statistical probabilities depending on, the quality of the DNA and probably other factors as well. So the state then has that power to be able to make it sound like it's almost certain that, this is that person's DNA based on that statistical calculation. And so what that expert, Stephen Mercer, pointed out is that those statistical calculations presume a universe where nobody else is related. And that's not the real world. The real world, everybody has relatives. Some people have a lot of them. Some people have fewer of them, but the extent to which you share DNA with other people in the general population is going to affect the likelihood that somebody else in the population could pop up with these same STR markers or substantially the same STR markers in their genetic profile as your suspect. So he made the point that when you develop that family tree, when you get that information from police, that's potentially going to relate to the likelihood of a false match, the likelihood that this statistical calculation is not credible, is not valid, because it's presuming nobody is related. But if in fact a lot of people are related, that can change that statistical calculation. So that's a very viable avenue for cross-examination for the defense. It's something that's extremely relevant at trial because we know the state is going to present this STR evidence. So for them to be able to adequately explore it, this is information that the state has that they are not realistically likely to be able to get themselves without, undue burden, going through the same process basically that the state has already done to get a sense of who Mr. Koberger's relatives are, how many of them are out there, and that type of thing. So for that reason, that's why I've changed my perspective on this, because that witness was able to make that link between the information that the police got from the S&P profile and the evidence that they actually intend to introduce at court, the STR profile. That makes it relevant. That means it is no longer a moot question. It is information that could potentially bear directly on the viability of the state's case.
Yeah, like when I was saying, if you can upload Joe Dirt to 23andMe, you can upload BK to 23andMe and say, here we got a match. He should have the opportunity to see how they got to him. Because if anybody can, that's a weird pause. If anybody can load it up as any name, well then, yeah, you need to know, is that even the Brian Koberger that is me? And then when we hear about this Lucas Anderson case, that's something I need to look up too. How his DNA was transferred onto an EMS worker, and then the EMS worker shows up at a crime scene and all of a sudden his DNA is on the victim. It's crazy. Found that video. Shout out Tracy. Here's the video. We're going to get into some other stuff here. If we can get to it tonight, then we will. If not, we will get to it in the show tomorrow, but here's the link to it. If you want to give it a quick peek before we get into it, you're more than welcome. So there's the link. If we don't get into it tonight, we will get into it on the next show. But if you want to watch it early, there you go. Yeah, it was trippy, right? Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I thought I was hallucinating for a minute there.
The way she was looking.
Yeah, I thought my glasses or something. Oh my God. It's like some acid trip or something.
All right. Yeah, there's no acid over here. All right. So let's see. He was talking about the DNA. So because we watched a little clip where she talked about this Lucas Anderson case. Let me try and find it real quick.
I've thought that for a while. My next guest, though, maybe disagrees with me. Great for the public in general that we are going to have some transparency and see these proceedings, right?
100%. Transparency is very heartening to me.
Good courtroom operator, and we can get all the different views. Hey there, everybody. Outside the Kohberger home in Pennsylvania. And then after Kohberger was arrested, authorities took a cheek swab from him. And court documents reveal that the DNA recovered from the sheath is an almost identical match to Kohberger. What do you think, Andrea?
Yeah, so the DNA evidence, you've described it as strong. I would describe it as really the linchpin of the state's case, because if this DNA evidence does not stand, in my opinion, the case does not stand. So it's really the only hope that they have to get a conviction here. So you've described it as strong evidence. What we know about the DNA is that it appears to be what we call trace evidence, meaning this doesn't come directly from a body fluid like a blood or something like that can help explain how that DNA got onto that knife sheath. Instead, it is simply a small amount of what is likely DNA associated with skin cells, or sometimes there's not even any cellular material at all. It's simply free-floating DNA. And so what we know now is that this type of DNA is very easily transferred, not just from person to object, but from person to person, person to person to object, person to person to person. So there have been numerous instances of cases where false convictions have occurred due to reliance on this type of evidence. The most prominent one is a gentleman named Lucas Anderson, who, as it turned out, his DNA was found underneath the fingernails of a murder victim, and the defense was subsequently later able to tie that to his having been treated by paramedics, first responders, shortly before they then responded to the crime scene and handled this body. So
I'm glad you mentioned that. That I could understand.
All right, I'm going to take a pause here real quick. Shout out Storm OZ over there on Twitter. They sent me the link to this actual story here. So shout out to them. And I'm going to share this link with you guys. And this is the case that they are referring to. Thank you, Storm OZ. Appreciate the support there. And the link for that. Definitely click on that. And we will get into this case on the next show as well, because that's going to be interesting. Kind of like that Mark Carver case. All right, we'll go back to this now.
Dan, how's explainable? Out of all places for the DNA to be, and I hear what you're saying about the difference between skin cells and blood. Out of all places, it's not found on a doorknob. It's not found on the carpet. It is found on a knife sheath, the very item that was housing the potential murder weapon. How on earth would that be there first?
Well, as I've indicated, there are multiple ways that it can end there. It could be direct touch, but it's not required to be direct touch. It could be somebody shook Brian Kohberger's hand the night before and then touched this knife blade.
Or somebody that, like she said, talk to them. Next thing you know, they're going in. they're one of the people on the chain of custody who touched it. Next thing you know, you find out they're part of the Brady-Giglio. Why are they under the Brady-Giglio? I don't know. False shit. So then you tie that to the fucking sheath, and then you go, huh? So then, is that even it? How did they deserve to know how they got to him? Period.
Well,
and I have a feeling they can't.
Well, how it got there is not the defense's burden.
I didn't say it was.
No. I know. I'm just saying that how it got there is not the defense's burden. It's the prosecution's burden. So this Jesse is asking a defense attorney how it got there. And my answer would be, that's not for me to answer. That's for the prosecution to answer. You need to be asking that to Mr. Thompson.
It's for the prosecution to provide how they got to him. Especially if you put your spit in as Joe Dirt.
BK doesn't have to do shit.
No.
He doesn't even have to talk.
He just wants his shit. How did you get my shit?
Yeah, I'd be like enraged. Honestly, I'd be like a mad woman. I'd be like, how the hell did you come to the conclusion that my client was a suspect? I need to know that ASAP, like immediately. I don't care who was involved. Whoever was involved in the investigation was operating pursuant to the instructions of the prosecutor. And that's what the judge said. The judge said, yeah, sorry. FBI, Idaho State, they were all involved in the investigation. So guess what? You need to go get that information. And if they don't have it, you need to say it doesn't exist. Not that you can't get it, because there's a difference. There's a difference between it doesn't exist and, oh, well, we can't get it. I mean, they're busy. We don't know. It's a bureaucracy. We don't know. No. If it doesn't exist, you need to say it. And that's what needs to happen, in my opinion.
I think it does exist. Think about it. The only thing that makes sense to me, why have they so they had his name in December. DNA wise. Okay. If you had the DNA in December, the match, you obviously had at least the chain of custody. No matter what, you had the chain of custody. So why has that not been provided this whole time, where the defense has to ask 10 times? Because I think that the person that is part of the chain of custody is under the Brady-Giglio, and they can't release it. Just like they can't release or get the training records. Because I think the person that touched it wasn't even supposed to even touch it.
Yeah, people have told me, gosh, you practice medical malpractice. If you practice criminal law, it would be way easier. I don't know. I think it would be harder, but what do I know? But, I mean, at this point, Ann Taylor is trying to challenge the probable cause affidavit because the DNA, that whole issue with the DNA was the extra something that got the Pennsylvania police to go in there like they did. That's the additional probable cause. It's my opinion that that's the additional probable cause. And as a judge, you see that shit. You can't make a determination that this is bullshit. You can't. You have to take their word for it. So that's why the probable cause affidavit was as it was. The judge saw the DNA, and that's why they went in gung-ho, full SWAT team, and maybe expected BK to be unstable and do something stupid, but he didn't. He was sorting trash.
Or take a plea.
Or take a plea.
Throw so much at him like they've done before. Throw so much at him, so then they take the plea.
Yes, but here's the thing that gets me is that, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, and he didn't. He didn't take it.
No. But here's the thing that gets me is that they found him, I guess, and this is the prosecutor in Pennsylvania said this, that he was sorting trash and putting it in plastic baggies.
Yeah, supposedly
And so
that's
that
what
was somehow
they do.
suspicious because he was
No, I
trying to
guess
hide.
they have laws. They have laws with their trash there where you have to separate stuff.
Yeah. So, but when they say it's suspicious, it's like, what is suspicious? How is he hiding DNA? He's putting it in he's putting it in a separate baggie. Like whatever DNA is on the baggie or whatever DNA is on the trash originally is going to stay there, even if it's in a baggie. I mean, he's not cleaning the trash. He's not like sterilizing the trash.
They
He's
needed
just
DNA somehow.
I
And
mean,
that's just them making up shit to,
it's
the shock and awe.
terrible.
What my question is how can you be an officer and you live and work in that area? It's not that big, people. It really isn't. And you name roads as streets that are lanes and avenues. You have shit like that wrong. You name a city that's in Idaho, but it's really in Washington. Like, how do you not know? And this is a fucking PCA. Like, how do you not sit there and go, okay, you know what? I think it's Idaho, but let me double check. Like, wouldn't you? Even the streets where they say that he was going, like, there was so many errors in the PCA because when I had to map it all out when I went out there, and I had to write down what street and avenue and all this other stuff. I'm sitting there and I'm looking at the PCA and I'm like, this is not a fucking road. This is avenue, not street. Like, what? This is a drive. Like, what? Like, how do you not even know that shit? And you live there and you work there and you don't even know the right street names, the technical street names of the city you work and protect. You're supposed to know all the streets. It's part of your job. A cabbie would know the streets more than that. Well, I don't know if it's necessarily OCD because there's certain laws there. This is what I'm assuming, okay, what they do with their trash and why they have to separate it like that. Because I think what takes place is because there's a lot of beautiful hills and I'm sure they're trying to make sure that they can recycle as much as possible. So what I think they do is when the garbage comes to the facility, I think they literally rip open the bags and they're the ones that actually separate everything for the recycling. So that's why they want you to bag things separately so that way they don't have to like rip and pick. It's basically, okay, we can grab it and we can toss it this way and we can toss this way. And we don't have chicken and gravy all over the plastic milk carton that we're trying to recycle kind of thing. So maybe that's why they separate it because just a way to preserve. There's a lot of trees. There's a lot of forest. There's a lot of hills and a lot of beauty. So I'm sure we have separate trucks, food and garbage. Oh, wow. So you have trucks just for the garbage of food, huh? Or it could be that too. Yes, Susan. Because there are a lot of bears up there. That is true. When I was out there for that manhunt, I was warned by some of the locals, like, at nighttime, just be careful. Don't be walking out, in the dark, just be prepared. Like, bears do come around. I was like, no shit. They're like, yeah, just don't be eating a Snickers outside at 2 a.m. in a dark alley, and then all of a sudden, boom, you got a bear on you, kind of shit. So I didn't eat a Snickers in a dark alley. Some places require you to separate it. Yeah. Just thinking for recycling purposes, maybe. I don't think it's crazy maybe it's crazy for the people that don't have to do it. You know, I think it's crazy to me that some states you don't have to have a front license plate, because what if a kidnapping takes place and you only see the front of the damn car? Well, shouldn't you be, you know, isn't the cost of a $20 license plate worth the opportunity that you can see the license plate of somebody that might be kidnapping somebody? I mean, I don't understand that either.
Yeah. And
Trash.
well, the whole
Oh,
thing
damn.
is just very strange. But you know, they actually took the clothes he was wearing the night that they arrested him, and it's like, that's interesting why they would do that.
In case there was victims.
Yeah, this is weeks later. I mean, and they said, oh, he cleaned his car. Well, did you see how filthy his car was on the drive over there? I would clean my car too.
Trying to
once
scrounge
I got
everything.
there.
I'm sorry, and if you're OCD about it, you're washing your car on your trip. That was dirty. That was dirty.
Yeah.
You're washing your car halfway through the trip. You're not letting it get that dirty if you're that picky about it.
Well, he also has anxiety. It's obvious. I think it's obvious to me anyway, just looking at him and how he reacts and how he tries to talk to the cop about what his understanding of the law was, and how back in Pennsylvania they didn't have these things. I mean, he's like an overthinker. He's like an overthinker. And that's why he doesn't have very good social skills. He's like overthinking everything, and then he fucks everything up socially. I'm saying that's my opinion, but I have no basis other than what I've seen, which just to me, I mean, I don't know. He just seems like a really nerdy, geeky guy and doesn't fit in. Out of towner, easy target. I don't know. I think he suffers from like really bad OCD, but I'm not a doctor.
Why?
And
Where do you guys come up with this conclusion that he was OCD and shit? Just because you heard neighbors say that he was vacuuming and cleaning at 2 a.m?
That's part of it.
How do we know? He could be a smooth motherfucking operator when it came to the bars. We don't know.
Well, my opinion is I took care of the basis. Here's the deal. The basis for my opinion is that I took care of people who were crippled by OCD and were hospitalized. And I did. I was a mental health worker. I took care of people like that. And the look on their face is, I mean, I can't explain it, but the fact that he was up at night separating trash leads me to believe like he can't sleep. There's anxiety there. He was always looking clean cut. He got his hair cut. He wasn't like, and then his aunt, which may or may not be true, and I will accept that. His aunt had said that he didn't like the pans, touching meat. We don't know if that's true, but if it is, what?
I don't care what that aunt has to say.
Well, I did work with people like
back
that.
then,
Like it.
Back then, but okay, but who said that he's even? See, we're not even like doctors. We haven't even. We're sounding like the lady that was on the court TV special, talking like she interviewed him and studied him and stuff. Well, not me, because I'm not saying he's OCD, but damn, we don't have no idea. We can't.
Well,
because the aunt or a couple.
Here's the difference between what I'm saying and what that lady is saying that was saying that he was a sexual killer or whatever.
No, I wasn't saying you were saying that. What I'm saying is it's the same presumption. Like we're assuming, she was assuming she knows his mental stability, and then everybody else is assuming his mental stability if they're claiming he's OCD or anything, because we don't know. we don't.
But my opinion.
Yeah, where do you come up with that conclusion if there's no interviews of BK that we could sit there and study?
No.
Like, how does anybody come up with the conclusion that he has
Well, number
OCD?
one, when I took care of these type of people, because that's the basis for my opinion, is I took care of these type of people. These type of people don't sleep at night. They're
But
busy
if you're
doing shit.
including BK, then that means that you know BK like you know
don't.
the people that you're talking about. If
I
you're
don't.
including BK, because you said I know these people.
Yeah.
So you're saying BK is these people, right?
No, I'm saying that I have experience in taking care of people with OCD, and those
Okay.
people with
Yeah.
OCD, they are night owls. They can't sleep. They drive around. They clean. They do whatever they can. And when Ann Taylor said that it was evidence of habit, that's a legal term, which means you get corroborating witnesses to come in and say, yes, he has a habit of driving around at night. Yes, he's always been driving around at night. He's always up at night.
But who said that? People we can't necessarily trust. Was it a doctor that said
Well,
that
that's
about
the whole
BK?
part of the ex-party thing.
No, it's not. BK didn't have a doctor that came out and said that. This is what I'm saying. This is his aunt. These are roommates. Yeah, the aunt said, like, listen, what the aunt has to say, that's cool. Because listen, like, we heard all of the negative stuff that was spewed, and we don't even know that's true. If it's a doctor, like if there's an interview where we can sit there, like I was watching the interviews with the dude that did the Denver, Colorado movie theater thing. I was staying up late watching those because I was like, I wanted to study it or whatever, right? And just to see like his actions, body movements, how he responded and things like that. And so it's not like we have one of those videos. There's no doctor that's come out. There's no his dad, his mom, his sister. Nobody came out and said any of these things. So we can't take what an aunt or a high school friend is saying, and then especially when it comes to a mental health issue, you can't just put a peg on it, and because the aunt said so and a couple neighbors said he was up late, all of a sudden this dude's OCD. And I'm not saying he's not, I'm just saying we have to be like careful jumping to conclusions, especially with mental health illnesses and stuff, because that's just as bad as saying he has a mental health issue that he might not have is just as bad as saying that the dude's unaliver.
Yeah. Well, I actually have a basis for what I'm saying. It's not like my basis is not 100%. It's just my opinion as a mental health worker and as a lawyer. It's just my opinion. And the basis for my opinion, which the psychotherapist that concluded that he was some kind of sexual unalive or whatever. Okay, she's a psychotherapist.
We're not even talking about that. We can take that out of the conversation. This is about BK. This is about BK being OCD. That's what I'm talking about. I wasn't even thinking about the lady on court.
That he has those traits. Just looking at his life history, and when there was a video about when somebody is getting the death penalty, they have to take their whole life into consideration. And he was overweight. He managed to get fit. And that was one of his prideful things, that he managed to get fit. He lost all this weight. That was one of the things he, based on, information that he wrote, that he was proud of. So, it really takes discipline to do that. Especially at the age that he was. So, and it takes discipline to go through a master's program. Especially, it takes discipline to get recommended to a PhD program. And if you don't have a little bit of OCD, you're not going to get through that. Trust me.
I'm not saying he don't, and I'm not saying he has qualities that would be the same as somebody that does. What I'm saying is we can't diagnose him.
No, and I'm not.
All I'm saying. Nobody
What
can
I'm saying,
diagnose him as
what I'm
OCD.
saying is that he has OCD traits. To me, in my opinion, I don't know if he's like diagnosed as obsessive compulsive, but based on what I heard, it doesn't change from the first time I called in to your show. I was like, how does somebody who's a clean freak, who they say is an incel, like he doesn't have they don't know of a relationship, like a long-term girlfriend or whatever, you know, I just see it as somebody who is very disciplined and very organized in their thinking, that they overthink things, and he would overthink things. He would not, for the same reason that you believe that he would not commit this crime knowing that there are cameras there. That's the basis. He wouldn't. He wouldn't, because he thinks ahead. He is obsessive compulsive and thinking ahead. I mean, it's anxiety is what is at the bottom of it. It's not necessarily OCD, but for the same reason you believe he would not commit that crime, he would not have taken the route that he would have, knowing that there are cameras there.
Because I'm the same way.
Yes, that's the same reason.
Way.
Yes, that's the same reason, and that's the same reason
You think of
why
every fucking possibility that could happen, so you're always prepared 100% for any possibility that could happen, and you're always prepared for the next two after that, because you overthink everything so much, where it's all laid out in front of you, where literally you can walk minefields.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
I'm the same way too. You don't think that I got through school and I got all these accolades and all this shit by not thinking ahead?
Because you overwork. You overwork when you're like that. I know what I overwork. I have everybody like telling me, like, dude, you know, maybe not do some of these shows. It's like, trust me, you don't know the drive in this soul right here. I don't have to take no breaks. Like, I'm good.
No, I don't either. But but that's my basis for saying that he has those traits. It's not based out of the blue. It's not
I'm
based
not saying
to get
that.
No.
All I was saying the whole time is we can't be diagnosing him. That's
no,
all
we're
I'm
not.
saying.
I'm not.
People say he's
diagnosing
OCD.
him.
No, I'm
I said
saying
he
in
has,
general.
I'm
talking to Chad too,
traits.
I'm talking
He has
to Chad too.
OCD traits.
People in chat are even saying he's OCD. I'm talking to everybody. It's general. Yeah. I'm not saying you were saying he was OCD. I'm saying in general, nobody can diagnose this man, because none of us have been able to do any of the kind of interviews or activities or any of that in order to be able to do that.
You know,
that's all.
The sad thing is that the traits that I see in Brian Koberger are traits that I see in a lot of people, including myself. And it's like, are those bad traits? Does that mean that he unalived 4 people?
No.
That he had some kind of no.
It's why I was in management all my life. As soon as I was 20 years old, I was in 19 and a half. I was management already. And I was in management the rest of my life. If I wasn't that way, I don't think I would have been able to handle it, because like literally you have to, like, I was managing 200-300 people. Like, you got to know how to manage personalities. You got to know what makes each person tick, what gets them motivated, what upsets them, like shit tons, paperwork, you know, all of the other stuff that comes along with management. Like, I don't think you have to have that kind of trait in order to be able to manage all of those different things at the same time.
Right. So you have traits. I mean, I'm not saying I'm saying he has obsessive compulsive disorder traits. Like he has, like there's a DSM, I don't know what it is, Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. I think they're at number 7 or something like that. Brian would know. But anyway, there's traits that you see, and it's not diagnosing, they're just traits. Oh my gosh, Detective Golden is saying that her mother was borderline, and I'm so sorry, or her mother-in-law. Oh, yeah. There's traits that that people have. And that's all I'm saying is that he has these traits, and it doesn't, when, like, it's basically anxiety. It's what most people have. It's driven by anxiety. You look at him when he gets stopped by the police officer. On the one, he's trying to talk his way out of a ticket, and he's like trying to explain that over there we don't have it. It's anxiety. Number two, when he gets stopped on the freeway, he doesn't take off and run, try to flee. He starts, he's looking at the officer, and he's trying, and then he looks at his dad like, shut up. Like, what are you saying? Because I've been there. It's like, Mom, don't say that. We're going to get a ticket. Like, I mean, to me, it's normal, but, and I'm not diagnosing him. I'm just saying he has these particular traits. And if you look at him with these traits that are most likely true, maybe the bulk of them, how could he go like toe to toe unaliving people when he can't even be intimate? He's never had a long-term girlfriend. How does he go? I mean, you figure.
I don't know about that girlfriend thing either. I don't know.
Well, I haven't heard that he's had a long-term girlfriend. I don't know.
I haven't heard either way. I don't know.
I haven't heard either way.
I don't know the dudes.
Well, he definitely didn't have a girlfriend at the time he was arrested that I know of.
Really?
That I know.
I thought he was kicking it with a female.
Oh, I don't know.
It's just what I heard. That's what one of the neighbors said. He was.
Oh, the Asian lady. Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, we don't know that he could have been a smooth fucking operator out there at the bars. We don't know. You know what I mean? Goes in there, the shirt, unbuttoned, 2 buttons, so it shows, and then he's just sitting there on the side, like, hey, what's, like, we don't know. We don't know if he was some smooth operator. As soon as you walk in, you're like, we don't know.
When I look at him, I see anxiety, and that's my opinion. I'm not diagnosing him. I'm not saying he's some mental health freak that unalived 50 million people or unalived 4 people. I mean, those symptoms of anxiety can cause so much stress in your life, and you behave a certain way because you feel anxious. You feel, you overthink things. And so this is the basis why you and I had said from the very beginning, don't you think he would have known about all those cameras? Don't you think he would have known? Yes.
Because when you think that much, one of the reasons why you think of every single possibility that could take place, and then beyond that, and have it in a map in your mind laid out in front of you, is because you don't want to fail, because you don't want to walk into mines, because you want to get to the goal. And so you have to think like that in order to make sure that you get there.
Yes. That's all I'm saying about Bryan Kohberger.
It's about success and not failure, and the drive to succeed.
Yeah, you mean,
you're dealing with that.
A lot of people have OCD traits that are like that. And a lot of successful people have it. And a lot of successful people, you don't see what goes on behind closed doors. You don't see the anxiety things that they have, what they do to ease their anxiety. I mean, you don't see that. But what I see from Bryan Kohberger, he lost a lot of weight on his own.
Yeah, that's speaking of Miley, she asked about the vegan. I think that's why, because if you remember those posts that we read through a long time ago, the HTC or something like that, the visual snow, if you believe those, he was discussing about losing weight and trying the vegan route because other things that he was trying wasn't working. And so I think with how big he was prior, and then with the transformation of how fit he got, I think it's why he maybe stuck with it, is because he was like, look, I've tried everything else. I was jogging, I was boxing, I was doing all these physical activities, and I couldn't keep the weight off, and the vegan route is what is allowing me to do that. And then maybe that's ever since then, he's just like, look, now to sit there and say, Sorry, Auntie B, I can't eat that because you had a pork chop on it at some time in my life, and I know it. I need some Walmart Tupperware. Like, no, I doubt that. Really?
But look,
come on now. I don't like peas, and I'll eat a plate that had peas on it the night before.
Yeah. Well, that's suspect. I mean, I agree. I mean,
come on.
But the issue is that this guy had never been away from home. He's away from home for the first time in his life. His dad is over there calling people saying, can you, be friends with my son, take him to a party or something. I don't think that's disputed. They want him to fit in. And because he's kind of bright and he overthinks things, it's all boils down to the basis for why we think he did what he did. And the basis for why I don't think he did what people are accusing him of is because I've taken care of people like that. I see it. It's hard to explain when you see anxiety. The only places that I have been able to judge him is when he's stopped by a cop. And you see the anxiety, and you see him looking at his dad like, what the hell are you saying? Like, shut up. And I remember being in that same position, telling my mom, stop it. You're going to make things worse. I feel it. So, but I'm not diagnosing him, and I'm not giving him a pass if he did do it, because I often think, maybe he did do it. I don't know if he did it or not. And he could have snapped. He could have snapped into a psychosis, which if he snapped into psychosis, then it's crazy brains from there. I mean, but like in a death penalty case, you look at the overall person, because you know what? All it takes is one person to say, nah, I'm not going to put this guy to death. He can go serve life, but I'm not going to put him to death.
Well, and here's another thing that I was watching earlier. What were we watching? We were watching a lawn crime episode, and they had some lawyer professor from a college. And he was talking about the DP, and he was talking about how with the DP, just as even an anomaly, say, because there was a burglary charge as well that goes in with this, right? There's 4 counts and then burglary. So, say there's some anomaly where they get him for the burglary, but nothing else. He could still serve life in prison because they threw the DP at him. And I think that's one of the reasons why they threw it, not only to get him to try and take a plea, because that's what they do, but also if nothing else stuck, even this IGG or any of this DNA or any of this surveillance or any of this cell phone stuff, they could still say, well, he's serving life for burglary. So, we're sorry, community. We couldn't. The jury didn't see it this way, but hey, he's still serving life for burglary. Kind of like
no, you don't serve life.
OJ.
I'm sorry. The sentencing guidelines, I don't know what they are in Idaho.
What he was saying. Yeah, that's what he was saying.
Yeah, I don't know what was he in Idaho? He
was a lawyer.
But was he a lawyer in Idaho?
I don't know. We'd have to watch it again. Here, let's watch it again, because he said by them throwing the DP, they could literally give him life for anything, and Jesse didn't disagree.
No, by throwing the DP, okay, the charge, you have to look at the charges that he was charged with and what the sentencing guidelines are for those charges. So if he's charged with unaliving somebody, there's sentencing guidelines if he's found to be convicted. If they only find that he's charged with burglary, then there are sentencing guidelines.
I'll let you listen to what he says, because he said that he can serve life on any of the charges.
Let's expand upon that for a minute and focus on the death penalty. When we talk about the death penalty, there are aggravating factors that would weigh.
Oh, there's some new people that came to the show, Yoli. If you want to let everybody know who you are, this is Yoli. This is I'm just gonna call her an OG because she is.
What's an OG?
You're an old gangster. You've been around for a while. You've been around for a while. You're an OG.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so actually, my criminal law award is right up
tell
there.
everybody.
Yeah.
You want me to do a solo screen on you real quick so you can?
No, you don't have to do that. It's right there. Well, you can if you want to.
Yeah, let me do it real quick. We do it for our guests here. Here, we'll go solo screen. There we go.
Okay, so this here, it's the American Jurisprudence Award for criminal law. I got the highest grade in criminal law in my law school. And so I got the highest grade in criminal law, and this is coming from somebody who grew up from nothing. So no brothers and sisters, and nobody to take care of me. My mother was mentally ill. So if you don't think that I can handle myself in a courtroom, think again. I went into think again.
I got some of that. That before she went. Yeah, I know.
No.
Yeah.
I change. I'm very nice and very sweet, and I love animals. I love children, and they're the best things ever. But you get me in front of a defense counsel, and I will eat their witness up alive. I will disembowel the witness. I've done it. They've cried.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And I have the proof. I don't need to. I have the goods.
Yeah.
Like look it up.
I have the scars. I have the scars, everybody. I survived it.
You don't think I'm used to dealing with assholes? Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's like, go ahead. And you know what? Defense counsel will tell you they respect me. They know. They give me extensions. I give them extensions on discovery. No, I'm here because this case got me out of my shell. No, civil. I'm a medical malpractice attorney, and everybody tells me that if you're a medical malpractice, that's like the civil rights law and medical malpractice are the hardest law, okay, that you could ever practice. And they're saying you'd kill it in criminal law if you do medical malpractice. Well, I did. I mean, in class, I got the highest grade, and I wanted to go into criminal law. It just never happened. It never happened for me. But here I am, and trust me, I have an opportunity to go into criminal law, and I may do it, but we'll see. I've brought universities to their knees. Me, myself, and I as a youngster, very young. So the fact that I'm here, it means something. It means that I really care about the process. And when I see law enforcement do shit like this, yeah, I was a Camille Vasquez before Camille Vasquez. Yeah, long time
Don't tell
ago.
him too much because we got to save it for the Conversations with CJ episode when we have you on sometime and we just talk about you.
Yeah,
So
when I say disembowel someone, figuratively.
We got to save it. We got to save it for the show.
Yeah, so I have all my awards and things here. I finally set up my home office. But the thing I'm trying to say is that I came out here because of this case. Something's not right. From the first time I called in to CJ, it was like the thing we could agree on was how the hell does someone like this go through all this shit with all... Don't you think he would have known the cameras? I mean... And
especially
so,
with the route, other route, you know what I mean? It's like, no.
So when you say that, you have a basis for saying that. Just like I have a basis for saying that he has OCD traits. It's not a diagnosing him. He has OCD. He has OCD traits, I should say. Brian says we've all been hanging with the gangster.
Yeah.
Nah.
You are from Southern California, Yoli.
Hey, man, if you look where I grew up.
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
we totally appreciate you for real. Yeah.
Yeah, and I understand what you're saying about
this guy. This guy, he said, I don't know. he said, I don't know. Listen to it.
We're going to go back to this. Okay.
Yeah, this lawyer. Listen to what he's. Or here, let me find out exactly who he is. Let's see. It gives a. Let's see. University. So Jules Epstein, and he's some law professor from some college. It doesn't say.
He's well known. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, there's people that like him. They called him Mustache, and Kelly even made a comment about him. And then in the video, he kind of like moved his mustache, like you heard Kelly. You know, it's like, whoa, that's some powerful shit, Kelly.
A jury in favor of choosing him to be put to death, and then there are mitigating factors that might signal, maybe life in prison is the more appropriate punishment. What would be some of the things they're looking into, the defense, because they're the ones who waived. And he waived his right for a speedy trial. What are some of the things you think they're doing behind the scenes that are preparing them, if he's convicted, to fight for his life? Are they interviewing family members, classmates? They looking at his mental health records? What do you think they're looking at right now?
Everything you mentioned and probably a dozen things more. They want to look at school records. They want to talk to neighbors from where he grew up. They may want to have him assessed by a mental health professional so that they can see, and I'm not saying any of this applies in this case, but this is the type of thorough preparation that should happen in all capital cases. Is there a history of psychiatric illness? Is there any organic brain damage? Given that he was fairly high functioning, right? This is a guy who's in college and grad school. I'm not sure what they're going to find there, but you're always looking for things that either show how this person was harmed or suffered, and conversely, redeeming qualities of this person. So Lord knows how far and wide that investigation can reach.
Well, some of the reporting has indicated that he had a heroin addiction at one point. I imagine that has to play a role and will play a role in this case, in terms of not whether he committed the crime, but if he's ultimately convicted, his past abuse and the struggles. I imagine that could be a theme in a penalty phase. No,
all right, it's coming up here.
Depends on what they find, because to some people that is what we call mitigating. This poor man, he had a drug habit. To other people, that's, oh, look at him, he's also a druggie.
Right.
So you have to learn why it happened, how it happened, how long it happened. If I became a heroin addict after an industrial accident, which gave me so much back pain, that's one thing. If I'm not going to rock and roll parties and become a heroin addict, maybe that's another. So
interesting.
The answer is possibly. But the first thing is you don't preclude anything, you gather everything.
Right. And that's why it might be taking some time. Before we move on to the second issue that might be delaying this case, are you surprised in the sense, not surprised, but some people were wondering whether or not he wouldn't waive his right to a speedy trial, hold the prosecution to their burden, force them to go to trial rather quickly, which can sometimes throw a prosecutor off. Did you think that might have been an option that he considered? Look, you say you have all this evidence, you got to go to trial right now. I don't think you can prove your case.
Most lawyers would try and discourage a client from doing that. This is not like the argument in Georgia where some of the people charged along with Donald Trump said, okay, bring us to trial. This is a capital case.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't have arrested without a really thorough investigation. There's, as we know and have discussed on other times, a lot of evidence pointing to him. And to roll the dice and say, well, let's see if we can get it quick. Oops, but I'll be unprepared if I lose and have no death penalty defense. Really bad move.
Okay, let's move on to the second issue that might be holding up trial proceedings, or had held up the ultimate trial.
So he was saying right there, if they don't...
Argument in Georgia where some of the people charged along with Donald Trump said, okay, bring us to trial. This is a capital case.
Yeah.
and they wouldn't have arrested without a really thorough investigation. There's, as we know and have discussed on other times, a lot of evidence pointing to him. And to roll the dice and say, well, let's see if we can get it quick. Oops, but I'll be unprepared if I lose and have a no death penalty defense. Really bad move.
Okay, let's move on to the second issue that might be holding up trial proceedings or had held up the ultimate trial. I would say I call this the defense's legal arguments, right? All these kind of pretrial motions, which can take time to brief and argue and decide. One in particular concerns the grand jury indictment.
We got into it.
In Idaho, there are two options for bringing a defendant to trial. A secret grand
Do you
jury
remember
of about 16 to 20
I was like, no.
and listen to the evidence presented by the prosecution and decide, yes, that person should be bound over for trial. Or there can be a preliminary hearing where all that is done in open court. The judge decides if the case goes forward. We know that in May, the Latah County District Court announced a grand jury indicted Brian Kohberger, so a preliminary probable cause hearing was canceled. Now, here's where things get interesting, because Kohberger's defense team argued that the indictment should be thrown out. First, they raised issues of bias and improper evidence was submitted and evidence was withheld. Now, I tell you a lot, we don't know a lot about that because, again, this was a secret grand jury proceeding. What we do know is that they raised this other issue that was briefed and argued, and it was raised. The defense argued that the grand jurors were given an improper instruction as to the standard of proof. The grand jurors were instructed to return an indictment if they find probable cause exists, meaning that there are reasonable grounds to support that Kohberger committed the crimes. That's the typical standard we hear about across the country, pretty low standard. They say you can indict a ham sandwich because the burden's so low. The defense argued that that is not the standard under Idaho law. The defense said that if you look at the actual Idaho statute, grand juries should only return an indictment if they find proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Not only is that standard that's higher than probable cause, it's actually the highest standard we have in criminal law, the highest legal bar. Give everybody a sense of this. Jay Logsdon, an attorney for Kohberger, presented the argument to Judge John Judge. Yes, again, that's his name, back in October.
And the first question.
Okay, I must have missed where he said it then, because
is what we call mitigating. This poor man, he had a drug habit. To other people and qualities of this person. So Lord knows how far and wide that investigation can reach.
Well, some of the reporting has indicated that he had a heroin addiction.
Talk to neighbors from where he grew up. They may want to have him assessed by a mental health professional.
Where in the hell was it?
So that they can see, and I'm not saying any of this applies in this case, but this is the type of thorough preparation lawyers are making, right? You want us to go to trial in a case with 3 million pages of documents, whatever one thinks pro or con about Donald Trump. There should be enough opportunity for anyone's lawyers to go through whatever there is to go through. There are certain artificial intelligence tools which can at least apparently help separate some of the wheat from the chaff. But in a capital case, I would be awfully uncomfortable not having my team, even if we divided it up, look at every single thing. And that has to take some time and some money.
Shit, where in the hell is it? I had to have missed it. But I'm sitting here running all these other programs at the same time. I had to have missed it. He said, oh, hold on. Because I was going to make a highlight video out of it and I changed my mind. 211. I'm going back to my old fucking episode. Hold on.
No, I don't. If you get charged for burglary, there are sentencing guidelines for that. And it's not the death penalty.
Hold on.
There was recently a guy who molested some children.
Oh.
Sorry about that word. I'm sorry.
S.A.
who essayed children.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. And he got like 70 years in prison. And they so the sentencing that like he could have gotten death, but something about the sentencing guidelines. And yeah, there are sentencing guidelines with regard to each crime that they're charged with. And like I said, I don't know what they are in Idaho. I don't even know what they are in California, but I do know that there are sentencing guidelines. So if the jury just finds that he's guilty of burglary, then the judge will enforce the sentencing guidelines for burglary. But that's just my general understanding.
Courts have to operate, yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, where was it on this video?
No, I saw this video. I think I sent it to you.
That might signal, maybe life in prison is the more appropriate punishment. What would be some of the things they're looking into, the defense, because they're the ones who waived, and he waived his right for a speedy trial. What are some of the things you think they're doing behind the scenes that are preparing them, if he's convicted, to fight for his life? Are they interviewing family members, classmates? They looking at his mental health records? What do you think they're looking at right now?
Everything you mentioned and probably a dozen things more. They want to look at school records. They want to talk to neighbors from where he grew up. They may want to have him assessed by a mental health professional so that they can see, and I'm not saying any of this applies in this case, but this is the type of thorough preparation that should happen in all capital cases. Is there a history of psychiatric illness? Is there any organic brain damage? Given that he was fairly high functioning, right? This is a guy who's in college and grad school. I'm not sure what they're going to find there.
1 to 10.
But you're always looking for things that either show how this person was harmed or suffered, and conversely, redeeming qualities of this person.
So that's the maximum.
Lord knows how far and wide that investigation can reach.
Well, some of the reporting has indicated that he had a heroin addiction.
Man, I don't want to bore you guys watching it again. He said it somewhere in there because I was like, what the hell? How can he get life for anything?
No. For each crime, there are sentencing guidelines for each state. I know that. So I know burglary is not one of the ones that has a death penalty in general. Child's SA problems, those can have some kind of DP, but it has to be like really, really bad. And that's why I brought up that one case, because he got 70 years, but they considered the DP because it was horrible, the things that this person did. But they gave him the 70 years. But, you have sentencing guidelines as a judge you have to follow. And you have discretion. Yeah, you have discretion to
I'm going off of what this dude. I'm not going off of law. I'm saying I'm going off of what this dude would have said. And I'm like, how in the hell? Because when I heard it this morning, I was like, are you fucking serious? Then why wouldn't they throw a whole bunch of shit at a wall and see what sticks? If they could get him on life for anything. That's why I wish I could find that part where he said it, because
you could have misheard it. I mean, I've misheard.
Yeah, I know. That's why I wanted to try and find it.
God, I've misheard
exactly what I. Let me see here. Let me just play it. It's got to be some
point. I imagine that has to play a role and will play a role in this case, in terms of not whether he committed the crime,
he said it
but if
somewhere
he's ultimately convicted, his past abuse and the struggles. I imagine that could be a theme in a penalty phase. No,
it depends on what they find, because to some people that is what we call mitigating. This poor man, he had a drug habit. To other people, that's, oh, look at him, he's also a druggie.
Right.
So you have to learn why it happened, how it happened, how long it happened. If I became a heroin addict after an industrial accident, which gave me so much back pain, that's one thing. If I'm not going to rock and roll parties and become a heroin addict, maybe that's another. So
interesting.
The answer is possibly.
What the fuck does that have to do?
The first thing is you don't preclude anything, you gather everything.
Right. And that's why it might be taking some time. Before we move on to the second issue that might be delaying this case, are you surprised in the sense, not surprised, but some people were wondering whether or not he wouldn't waive his right to a speedy trial, hold the prosecution to their burden, force them to go to trial rather quickly, which can sometimes throw a prosecutor off. Did you think that that might have been an option that he considered? You know, look, you say you have all this evidence, you got to go to trial right now. I don't think you can prove your case.
Most lawyers would try and discourage a client from doing that.
Mm-hmm.
This is not like the argument in Georgia where some of the people charged along with Donald Trump said, okay, bring us to trial. This is a capital case.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't have arrested without a really thorough investigation. There's, as we know and have discussed on other times, a lot of evidence pointing to him. And to roll the dice and say, well, let's see if we can get it quick. Oops, but I'll be unprepared if I lose and have no death penalty defense. Really bad move.
Okay, let's move on to the second issue that might be holding up trial proceedings or had held up the ultimate trial. I would say I call this the defense's legal arguments, right? All these kind of pretrial motions, which can take time to brief and argue and decide. One in particular concerns the grand jury indictment. In Idaho, there are two options for bringing a defendant to trial. A secret grand jury of about 16 to 23 people can listen to the evidence presented by the prosecution and decide, yes, that person should be bound over for trial. Or there can be a preliminary hearing where all that is done in open court. The judge decides if the case goes forward. We know that in May, the Latah County District Court announced a grand jury indicted Brian Kohberger, so a preliminary probable cause hearing was canceled. Now, here's where things get interesting, because Kohberger's defense team argued that the indictment should be thrown out. First, they raised issues of bias and improper evidence was submitted and evidence was withheld. Now, I tell you a lot, we don't know a lot about that because, again, this was a secret grand jury proceeding. What we do know is that they raised this other issue that was briefed and argued, and it was raised. The defense argued that the grand jurors were given an improper instruction as to the standard of proof. The grand jurors were instructed to return an indictment if they find probable cause exists, meaning that there are reasonable grounds to support that Kohberger committed the crimes. That's the typical standard we hear about across the country, pretty low standard. They say you can indict a ham sandwich because the burden's so low. The defense argued that that is not the standard under Idaho law. The defense said that if you look at the actual Idaho statute, grand juries should only return an indictment if they find proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Not only is that standard that's higher than probable cause, it's actually the highest standard we have in criminal law, the highest legal bar. Give everybody a sense of this. Jay Logsdon, an attorney for Kohberger, presented the argument to Judge John Judge, yes, again, that's his name, back in October.
And the first question that a court has to ask is, what does that mean? And you start with the plain language, which we argue. What warrants a finding or a conviction by a trial jury is beyond a reasonable doubt. And it meant that
maybe it's after this.
In 1887.
So while Judge Judge admitted he found the argument interesting, he ended up denying the motion to throw out the indictment, so it stands. Now, Jules, I thought arguments like this, after they briefed it, they argued in front of the judge, I thought that delayed the case, that delayed the trial. Do you agree?
Maybe, and I'm sorry to be equivocal there.
No, that's fine.
In other words, normally there's an under.
Thank you, 510. Oh my gosh. Okay, it's before the. Okay. Oh my gosh, I was like, where in the hell? Thank you so much, Scarlett, for your help tonight. I appreciate that.
Kohberger, and actually, the state of the art in representing anyone facing the death penalty is to do a multi-generational study, who they are, where they came from, what might have gone wrong in their backgrounds. That can be what went wrong in schooling or in home discipline, or mother had an alcohol problem, or Lord knows what, to develop a picture of the whole person. Because when you are facing the death penalty, a juror can vote for life for any reason if they find it compelling.
For any reason?
Yeah,
Or
so
anything?
no, for
So,
any reason
just a
related
reason.
to for any reason related to the charge. That's what he failed to say. It's for any reason related to the charge. So if he's charged with unaliving 4 people, if he's charged with unaliving 2 people, and one of them had a baby like in the oven, 3 people, for whatever he's charged, a juror for any reason can say the death penalty is warranted, but it's specific to the crime. So if he's only charged with burglary and nothing else, there's sentencing guidelines a judge will impose. Now the judge has discretion to give him the maximum because the judge thinks that maybe he did do what he did, but there wasn't enough proof. And so that's where the judge's guidelines come into play. So even if I were to become a judge, I would be a student looking at the sentencing guidelines and saying, for this crime, these are the sentencing guidelines, and I have discretion based on everything. That's why the whole person is involved. And that's why I think when I called, I said, there are mitigating factors. I just remember my first phone call to you, and I said, people are human. They have a history. And, you're going to kill somebody as punishment. So you better make sure that this person is truly evil and can't be rehabilitated. And so yeah, that's my stance. And I don't diagnose anybody because I'm not a doctor, but I have taken care of people like that who are crippled by their OCD and can't decide, can't do anything, and are sorting trash in the middle of the night. It's not even because they live in a gated community. They just do it because they don't want so-and-so's trash to touch. They don't want the trash regarding, treats to touch the trash regarding the bathroom, and they separate it because they're so anxiety ridden. And that's what comes to mind when I see what I see. But that's just my opinion. Not professional either. But it's based on something.
Here's that call.
Oh, shit.
Here's that call if you guys want to watch it sometime.
Okay, yeah.
This is a long. See the difference? Like.
So what did I say? You should play it.
Oh, it's like half an hour long. I can't. I'm gonna have to end the show here in a few because I gotta get done early tonight. But yeah, it's like a half an hour. Man, that's an old. I remember that.
Half an hour is not that long.
And oh, my coffee neon! I forgot about my coffee neon. I was so excited when I got my coffee neon. But yeah, and then here's another one from Yoli as well. Let me see here.
Oh no, no.
Let me see. Where's this one? Because I think DTS had a question for you.
Oh yeah.
Remember that one?
Yeah.
This is the read through that we did. Hold on. Here's another video. Save these to your playlist, people. This is different videos. Hold on. So here's another one. This is us reading that document.
The notice of intent not to cross-examine. Yeah.
Oh, here's that.
Instead, they send the FBI to go talk to her.
Let's see. Here's that. And then there's another one, too.
No, you don't need to be bringing those up. Just the ones.
Let's see. Where'd it go? There's the notice. I got great calls from other people too, guys.
Oh, you did.
Oh, here it is. Here it is, right here. This is. Was there anything else?
No, there wasn't anything else.
Let me see here.
Yeah, I want to hear that call again too, because I remember being so frustrated.
The old background.
The old background, yeah.
The old background. And the sideways camera too.
Was it a sideways camera?
Yeah, I had multiple cameras.
Oh, you did, yes. Oh, you're talking about your background. I was thinking about my
But with the green
background.
screen, I can't do my multiple cameras no more because I can't get a green screen that's that.
You're talking about
big.
yourself. I'm talking about me. the old. No, yeah.
Yeah, check them out, everybody. Since I'm not on too late tonight, but definitely check out the first call. That was cool. And then it took. I mean, how long was it from when you first called to when you were actually able to get up on panel? Because that took a bit
It was
too.
a while.
Yeah.
It was a while.
Yeah. That's why when people want to talk shit about Yoli, I take offense to it because I'm like, yo, you don't understand the type of comfort and trust that this lady needed to freaking be able to even get on panel. Because I doubt you even probably thought you were going to get on panel when you were calling in. You know,
No.
how scared
I'm
you were
not.
about calling and stuff.
I'm not about being in the limelight. I was pushed into the limelight because of the work that I did, and it was not fun. I don't necessarily need to be in the limelight. And truthfully, CJ asks me if I want to be on panel. I don't go, chasing him and saying, "Oh, can I be on panel?" No, he asks me. And it's good for me to be on panel because I try cases and I like the feedback that I get. But anybody who's a hater and wants to hate on me, I want to hear them. I mean, it's all projection. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say, but
I don't. It's the big boot too. You know what I mean? If somebody, even in the comment section, when people want to talk stupid, we're about spreading peace and positivity. It has nothing to do with all that negative bullshit. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think,
and we all love you here, so they can kiss ass.
And yeah, I'm pretty down to earth. I didn't grow up privileged. I didn't have anything. I relate to people who are just regular people. I don't like going to all these shenanigans with attorneys. I'm pretty private, but for this case, not so much. This case, there's something really wrong.
For sure. A whole bunch of shit wrong. Yeah, we'll have to get into some more stuff. Are you gonna be available tomorrow night? I'm probably gonna get into some of this court stuff.
What court stuff?
The previous court hearing, we didn't get into that. I'm gonna get into the previous court hearing and some other stuff that has to do with court. And we got that court hearing coming up on Friday, so I figured we'd talk some court stuff.
Jeez, it's coming up
tomorrow night. So yeah, Friday. Yep, Friday. So
yeah,
I'm not sure. I'm thinking about doing like a noon to 7 show or something on Idaho4, then doing a game night Friday night. Honestly,
yeah,
all day show and then game.
To respond to Thomas Oaxaca, I think that's how you say it, Oaxaca. Yeah, I think it was exaggerated. They tried to say, "Oh my God, he was up at night in his boxers separating trash," and it makes you think he's wanting to avoid the DNA, like he doesn't want. No, he's sick.
Yeah, thank God Judge is allowing the camera.
That's just my opinion.
Oh, can you imagine the shady shit that would be going on if there was no camera?
Sometimes I wonder, they do look at this shit. They do look at I think they look at your show. I mean, one of the reasons why I was impressed with CJ was the whole, like, coffee cup thing, I thought, oh, he's following, he's respecting the judge. That's good. Like,
I was the only one. I
you
didn't
were
see
the only one,
anybody
and
else.
I'm like, what the
I
hell?
wasn't seeing anybody else block his zoom in on his face and stuff. I never.
Yeah, it was like, wow.
I would
That's
love to
pretty-
work for a judge and operate the cameras, honestly. You know? And I'll sit there and I'll report from Twitter. I would love to be able to work for Judge and do the cameras.
You know, he may be looking at your show, because I do remember saying, you know what, this judge needs to take control of the courtroom. Take control of it. It's your fucking courtroom. And I will say the F word. It's your courtroom, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you going to let them run amok? No, you can control it. And actually,
respectfully, you know what I mean? You can do all the zooms and all the stuff like you should, respectfully.
And in California, things are live streamed now. I'm looking, the California court system has a YouTube channel. I sent it to CJ. They have a YouTube channel. So, you know, when I appear, I click on the live stream thing on the court's website, and that's how I knew I had a delay. It was getting bad. I had to fix it. I think it's fixed, but I don't know. But yeah, no, this judge may be looking at everything, or he has other people looking at it. And it's like, yes, dude, take control of your courtroom. And he did. And it's like, thank you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at CJ. I mean, he was able to respect your guidelines. I mean, I didn't know that they had violated all kinds of things, like putting him on camera before the judge came out and all that stuff. That's terrible.
It is. And who knows? It had to be the boardroom. It had to be somebody going, get them fucking zooms.
I don't give a shit.
You know, whether they want them or not, get them fucking zooms, you know.
We have a right to do what we're going to do, you know, that kind of thing. And
you do it until they say something kind of shit, you know, some shit like that. Because I don't think they held a meeting and told them, you know, because then I think really things would have changed. I don't think they, you know, they just continued to let them do.
Yeah, well, anyway, that was a big part of the reason why I trusted CJ in a roundabout way. But I wasn't going to chat anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I still don't really chat, but anyway, that it's a good thing, and I'm glad I'm able to, you know, get it out. And this is a case that brought me out.
At least you can talk about it. You don't have to just sit there and kind of wonder or whatever. You can actually get on here and get it out of your system.
Right. It was bothering me so much.
Yeah. Well, shoot. If you're not busy tomorrow night, let me know. We're going to be getting into the court stuff and some other things. Let me look at my notes here. Some court stuff. And then I'm going to be checking out a podcast with the person that wrote the book While Idaho Slept. So we'll be doing court stuff tomorrow night. Yeah, While Idaho Slept. No, it's an interview of the person that wrote that book on a podcast. We'll be checking
What's
that
the
out.
podcast? Oh, it doesn't matter.
It's popular. I can't.
Watching the Watchers?
The one, no, it's one with his son and a mom.
Oh, yeah. It's the guy.
You know,
I know.
They have BTK. You know, they had BTK's daughter on there recently. What is it? Surviving the Survivor or something like that.
Surviving
right?
the Survivor.
Okay, that's what it is. Yeah, person that wrote the book While Idaho Slept. I wanted to check that out too. So, yeah, if you're not busy, I'll see what you're up to. I'm not sure. I'm probably going to be on in the morning. I am going to put a notification out there, but no promises. I promised a friend I would help tomorrow and for sure Wednesday with decorations for the holidays. So I'm going to go help a friend during the daytime with that. For sure Wednesday, maybe tomorrow. So I'm going to set a noti, but I might just end up changing it to tomorrow night and just leaving it there just in case. But you'll definitely know ahead of time, pretty early if I'm going to be doing a morning show or not. So if not, if I'm not on tomorrow morning, I'm definitely going to be on tomorrow night. So thank you all for hanging out. I appreciate you guys. Thank you, Yoli.
All right.
Just appreciate the shows, the conversation, and all of the different ideas that you guys bring to the table. Thank you so much. Thank you, mods, for all your hard work and your dedication, and also managing all the dumbass trolls just because we hang out with people. Give it up. And because people wear their hats backwards, I didn't know that you couldn't do that anymore. But hey, that's not me. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much.
Night.
I've always been the same way. So good night, everybody. Thank you.
Night. Bye.
See you tomorrow.